You're listening to Standing in Fire with Battle Axe Theater!
Been waiting for this moment to headbang to this intro.
All right, welcome everybody to the one and only Standing in Fire podcast. I'm so very happy that you are with us this evening. And along that note, we've got actually a really cool special set of guests with us. We've got Punk and Death from Battle Axe Theater joining us on the podcast this evening. Welcome, guys. How are ya?
Doing great.
Good, man. Glad to be here.
All right, this is fantastic. Death is wearing the hair. We should have probably joined in and done that too, Militus. You know, we didn't even think about that. We could have done our hair as well. And
I have to make a confession. I've been secretly quite jealous of Death's hair for a long time.
Yeah, me too, actually.
He's got awesome hair, man. Yeah. It's like black, and he can put it up. You stick it up really high. Like I'm super jealous, man. And he wears the beanie. Sometimes I'm like, take the beanie off, dude. You got all that great hair.
Oh man, dude, you're gonna make me blush.
Maybe
cool.
we should all
brother.
just let. We should just give Militus a moment with Death's hair.
Yeah. Well, Militus
this
and
is when Death leaves the podcast.
Later,
Militus
guys.
and I don't actually have that, so it's a whole thing.
We don't. Of course, I don't want Punk to feel left out. I'll run my hands through his hair as well. I'll
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do it all the time, dude.
See, all right.
It's true.
That's how it goes.
Wow.
It's all fun and games.
Sorry.
We
Got us
also
off on a
have
great note.
we also have Tess and Militus with myself, Boom, and we just have probably the very best show that has ever been a show on
This
anything.
show
Yeah.
is too much rock for one hand.
What's
You
gonna
gotta,
happen? So, guys, after the show happens, I'm fairly positive, and I hope everybody that's listening is not too attached to Twitch, because I'm pretty sure that just like Ninja moved over to Mixer. Because he was so popular, and they gave him all that money to move over to Mixer. I'm pretty sure Mixer is going to be contacting us next. All right, because they don't have wholesome variety shows like us on their platform that draw tens of listeners every night. And so we're next. So Mixer, here we come. We're gonna come to your platform. We just need some checks signed. That's all. That's all we got to do. All right.
And we need permission to show walls of penises with people climbing up them. As long as you're okay with that.
What do you suppose
good.
everybody's rules are on that on Mixer? Because I heard they're a lot more strict. I don't know that any of our.
Are they
I don't
more
know.
strict?
Way more strict. I don't know if any of our things apply there. They might not let us do any of that stuff.
We would be kicked off day one, I would imagine.
Yeah, I kind of think that Mixer would be like, who are these weirdos? Get off of here. Yeah. Well, and that's okay though. That's okay. Well, guys, today is the 21st episode of the Standing in Fire podcast, and it's on the 21st day of the month in the 21st century. And because of that, we have prepared some questions that we've got to ask all of our guests and everybody tonight related to 21, which is also the magic number you want to get when you play blackjack if you want to make the real money. All right? And we're all going to be doing some of that.
Keep going.
Yeah, we're all going to be doing some of that. We're going to have a get together sometime in June next year, we're thinking, in Las Vegas.
June 21st.
Maybe we just might do that. And so it has to be though, because our last get together was exactly 1 year apart, so we got to keep it on there. So anyway,
mentioned you missed something, buddy.
Yeah,
you should have been playing 21 Pilots while we're doing the 21st. 21.
But when we violate the copyright of Twitch by playing
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you can't play half a second of music. I don't even think.
Yeah. We would violate 21 laws by doing that, so we were not going to do it. Welcome to the freedom of the United States. Okay. Anyway, what I was gonna say
Vodka
is this:
just came out of my nose.
vodka.
Yeah.
Vodka just came out of your nose.
I have vodka.
She just went straight to the hard stuff tonight.
They still make high C. All right. Okay. So here we go. We got. So the first question is this: we're gonna propose it. Where and with whom did you celebrate your 21st birthday? So this is a good question. Miltis, take us away. Where and with whom did you celebrate your 21st birthday?
Well, I did make one slight error in my typing in the show notes, and I need to explain. I was not in a rural pond in Virginia. I was in Virginia.
Oh my God, JJ.
The original spelling is far more exciting.
It was Virginia, but it was Virginia actually.
Yeah.
I was in the Navy when I turned 21, and buddy mine took me out. Believe it or not, a buddy mine from Lufkin, Texas. I'm stationed.
Shout out.
Yeah, big shout out to Lufkin. Right, I'm stationed on the Enterprise way out in Virginia. I happened to meet a buddy on the ship that's also from Lufkin, and I just broken up with a girl. And I was super sad. So he's like, hey, dude, your 21st birthday, let's go fishing. Because that's what you do in East Texas. You go fishing. So he got a flat bottom boat. We went out in this pond in Virginia, and I got trashed fishing on my 21st birthday. That's my story.
Fantastic.
That's
Did
so
you catch any
wholesome.
fish?
No, but I caught a lot of empty Budweiser cans.
Okay,
By
all
the
It
right.
sounds like a country
All right.
song.
Yeah.
I was on
am
a
from Texas.
flatbed boat.
I caught a buzz,
pond in
but I didn't
rural
catch
vagina.
any fish. All right, Tess, tell us your story, and then we're gonna get to Def and Punk. Where
Mine
Where did you?
is not exciting. Mine is not exciting. It was on like a Wednesday night. So my roommate.
this was
in
last year,
college-
by the way, everybody. So
No,
Yeah,
God
it was like
bless
3 years
you.
ago.
God
this is-
bless you to even insinuate that I'm even close to my 20s. But yeah, it was my roommate took me out. We had a couple drinks, just her and I. Like, it wasn't a big party. No. The better story is when I turned 20 and I was at work. I worked at a restaurant, and all of the managers thought that it was, I just said it's my birthday, and they all thought it was my 21st birthday, even though it was just my 20th birthday. And they all every time I went in the back, they were like, here's a shot. So by
And
the
you
time,
never said anything, did you? You were like, thank you.
and by the time that I walked out of that place, I like my last 3 tables. I'm like, what do you want? You know? Much better story.
All
There
right,
you go.
Def, tell us your 21.
Yeah, what are you
birthday
gonna do
story.
when you turn
What
21,
got?
Def?
Man, I'm actually kind of depressed because I don't remember, and I did the
You
math.
don't remember?
And that was
That's a
that was
good
back
thing,
in
I think.
That was like a year ago, man. How can you?
that was
Yeah.
in 2007, bro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I look
Alright,
young,
so-
but I'm
Yeah, you do
So-
look really young.
So in
Yeah.
2007, but here's my thing. Maybe you don't remember it because it was such a great night. You just make that stuff up.
Let's make up a story.
Yeah, let's make up.
You
we'll
went
let
to,
chat. We'll let chat.
like a
Chat. You
drag
think
show.
about Def's story, and we're gonna like get back to it, and we'll see if anybody came up with anything good. Punk.
Okay.
How about you? What's your story?
Mine was awesome. It was
Yeah,
a banger. I went to dinner with my wife's parents.
That's great. With your wife's
And,
parents. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and they
Hey,
bought me
Punk.
drinks for my
They bought you
21st
some
birthday.
drinks.
What's
All
up?
right.
Oh, but they did buy you drinks though.
That's
Yeah.
sweet.
That
That's
is
very nice.
really cool.
Now, did you
Feel
had
like
like
a
cool
cool
ass
in-laws,
drinks.
man.
Yeah, that is. Did you get a martini or what? Because I picture them buying you drinks. They're like, this is an old fashioned, and they bring it out to the table too.
Yeah, no, it was like buy one get one, and I'll take one of
Uh-huh.
the ones that looks like a multicolored rainbow popsicle. So
Right. All right, there you go.
it tasted pretty good. I
Yeah.
didn't even get a buzz, but it was pretty tasty.
That's awesome. That's awesome. As for myself, I was working, and all my coworkers and I turned 21, and we all got in a big car, and we just drove up to Blackhawk, and we which
that's
Black
fun.
Hawk, Colorado,
Black
by the way,
Hawk?
it was brand new at the time. Like it had just been there, and it's Colorado's gaming town. It was real, and at the time it wasn't Black Hawk. It was Central City that was actually the hopping place because Black Hawk wasn't really built up yet. But we went up there and we ate pizza and we drank stuff, and I was weird. I drank, well, I shouldn't mention this because it's kind of weird, but I drank whiskey sours.
There's nothing wrong with
really?
drinking whiskey.
What's wrong with that?
Bro,
It's a little
that's
weird.
awesome.
It feels like a little like, I don't know. It feels, I don't know, maybe it's 1980s. I don't know. Anyway, so I drank whiskey sours. What'd you guys drink? So Militus, you drank beers.
Oh God, I drink Budweiser, which, again, no offense to people that love Budweiser, but not the greatest beer. Thank you for
Thank
whatever.
you. Thank you.
Oh, hold on, is that showing up over my head
It's
now?
showing over
yeah.
her face.
Give it to me, all of it, baby.
Yes.
Ah.
All right.
Now we'll get lots of subs. Right, to see Militus rubbing
Yeah.
the big thing. Yeah, I drank lots of Budweiser.
Thank you, Kate. Oh, we got another one.
oh,
So is called in first. Thank you, called in. And
Oh,
then
God.
we got another rub. Let's see who that is.
All right. I love it. That's what we call
Those
them.
were some
Instead of
bits. That was so
subscribers, we
nice.
call them rubs.
Yeah, thanks for the rub. That
Thanks
sounds
for the
bad.
rub.
That sounds
Right?
bad.
Doesn't so every time somebody subs or does any of the things, we get to say, "Hey, thank
Oh,
you very
God.
much. Thank you, Doggy
much
Poo,
can
for
one
the
man
rub."
take?
Yeah, that's great. That's a lot of rubbing.
rubbing, people.
That's a lot of rubbing and tugging. All right.
Oh,
Spit my
okay.
beer out.
So
Oh,
Tess, you
my
kind of
Lord in
so
heaven.
so Zeph, I saw somewhere on here something about you went home with a stripper and you got crabs and it was the last time you shaved and you blacked out.
100%.
there was somewhere there was a butt plug
That was it.
involved.
Oh my gosh! Did
Man,
you hear?
I heard that there
People
was
know me so
wind
well. I'm impressed. Like I didn't know
and a
people knew all
pickup
this.
truck. What's
Now,
going on?
Militus,
A pickup truck.
You
A
joke
pickup
about
truck.
that. Did you hear about the guy who went to the conference and he basically shared with an entire audience of computer folk the fact that he could hack those programmable Bluetooth butt plugs?
What?
Yeah, no, so this is
I
when
didn't
he
know
said this.
there was such
Go
a
into
thing
detail.
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
program.
Yeah, so
butt plug.
so I guess there's these ones you can wear and then your favorite person can like push a button and like do something. I don't know what it does, but it does something. I don't know if it goes in further, comes out. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it's all programmed in the phone. Well, this guy hacked it, right? And then what he did is at this conference, he had this big conversation. He was like, is that actual like sexual harassment when I hacked it? Is it not just hacking? But because now it's like, right, it's getting weird. So because people are wearing all these electronic devices, I guess. I don't know what's really going on out there, people, but I feel like
I'll
Be
explain it.
careful.
I feel
Hey,
like
man.
Be careful about your.
if you
your
buy
own.
a Bluetooth,
I do not judge. Hey,
no, I'm not judging, but I'm just like, if you're gonna buy a Bluetooth butt plug, you got to be prepared to have that thing go off when you don't expect it, because you might have some weirdo. Like, just be ready for that thing. And I don't know what that does.
got Bob over in the cubicle
Yeah, Bob over the cubicle goes like,
watching you wiggle up.
he's like,
Dude.
yeah. I'm totally
Wild
gonna,
life, man.
yeah, I'm totally gonna hack
Oh, God.
Jimmy's butt plug. Hold on here.
Oh,
Got it.
Dear Lord. Heaven.
So there
I
you go.
am so happy
It's a real
right
story.
now.
oh,
All right. Okay. Now this is a better question though for everybody. What was your favorite video game on your 21st birthday? So what were you playing on? When you were 21, what were you playing? Anybody want to start? Like, just pick.
Let's start with Punk. Let's start with Punk. He's going to start us
go for it.
off.
Punk, go for it.
No, I was playing Final Fantasy 11, probably like deep into it, finally doing endgame stuff at that point. So that was definitely my favorite game at that time.
That's awesome. See, that's such a good game to have. Mine
I always
seems
hear people
stupid.
lament
about that game.
Oh, it used to be
Final
so
Fantasy 11.
good, man.
And I didn't play it back in the day, Punk, and I really wish I would have, because people talk about how great it was, but I never played it back in the day. So
All right. How about you, Jeff? What was the game that you were rocking around that time of the 21st?
I know this whole community is tired of hearing this, but
I know it's coming.
EverQuest 1, bro.
All right.
I was
All
playing
right.
EQ.
All right.
Nice. And okay, what were you playing? What was your main back then when you were 21?
Oh man, it was probably my my Necro.
Yeah, you're a big
Necro,
fan of the Necro class.
Yeah, 100%.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's kind of lame, but you know.
Necros are never lame, dude. Never say that. Necros are never lame.
I'm kidding.
It's not like those butt plug wearing paladins. Nothing like it. How about you, Tess? What were you playing when you were 21?
Well, I actually had to like look up what games were released in
What, like
2001.
last year, you were playing like what, Secret World?
Yeah, Secret World.
No.
Yeah, Secret World was about when you were 21. Yeah.
Secret World was in this expansion, I think. When she
God
was
bless
young.
you. So here we go. Here's my age. Diablo 2 had just dropped. So I was probably playing Diablo 2.
That's kind of awesome.
Or Final Fantasy route. I think Final Fantasy 10.
We could have played together, Tess, because I was a huge Diablo 2 player. We could have played together.
That's kind of awesome.
You play on the US East server? Or West?
Because
you know they had the
I don't know, probably West.
Yeah, they were divided by like region. You remember that? It was like US East. They didn't have server names. It was like US East, US West.
I was probably, I don't know. Actually, I take it back. I might have been playing in East because Mama Tess got into it hardcore when we were living back
Of course she did, because she's the ultimate gamer.
She's the ultimate gamer, my mother. So probably, I would say, I don't know. Yeah.
I just want to say to the podcast, like, I look down on my own mother now because I know Tess. Like I love my mom and all, but I don't judge her next
and you
to
played
Tess's
with her.
mom. And I'm like, wow, my mom kind of really let me down. Like growing up, she didn't play MMOs with me. Like
right. She
Tess's
didn't. Nobody.
mom.
Yeah, my mom still doesn't play MMOs.
When are you guys gonna have her on the show?
Oh, she will never.
We'll do it.
I'll
get her on the show.
I got her to
me.
call in
She'll
one
come on the
time. That was it.
She'll come on the show.
She did call in one time. Yeah, she did.
Because I said,
we'll
Mom, they're bullying me about Logan.
Oh, that's right. We had a whole thing.
That's right.
Yeah, that was back in our Guild Wars 2 days where we were
Fragile,
having some stuff.
Mama Tess is cooler than Tess. The end.
Yeah.
She's prettier than me. She's smarter than me. She's cooler than me. She has more friends than me.
She's a big time ESO player.
She's a big time ESO player.
Hardcore.
But Tess
ESO PvP, believe it.
Tess is selling herself short. She raised a pretty awesome person too. So
she
there
did.
You go, Tess. So
Thanks, Pud.
Militus, what were you playing when you were 21?
I was playing this game. It was like, you can, if you remember that that sound effect. I was playing Street Fighter 2 because I'm old as dirt.
Yeah,
and I didn't have it on console. I was literally putting quarters in a machine.
I was gonna say, you and I,
Ryu all the time.
You and I are old enough that I was like, these might be arcade games. We might actually be like, I was playing Galaga, and because that's about the time when I was doing this. So I was actually you were playing Street Fighter. It was kind of funny. I was playing Tekken 2. I was playing tons of Tekken 2.
I was in they had next to the ship, they had like this big dorm area where we get off the ship and go play. And I would like get my monthly pay, which is like little amount of money. And I would take like a third of it. I'm not even shitting you. Like I got paid like $600 a month. $600 a month. Okay. And I would take $200 and that was my arcade money for the month. So I would spend $50 a week.
It's crazy how
going to play Street Fighter 2. Yeah.
When you say that, it's actually funny how expensive arcade games really were, even though they were a quarter a pop. Because I would save. We used to when I was littler, we put them in socks. We pull our quarters in socks, and we'd ride our bikes to the arcade. And I probably had $20-$30 in there, and I worked hard to save that money. But I think about that. I was doing that once a month. Like that's so much more money than I would spend on a WoW sub. It's crazy.
Dude, young gamers have no idea. Like, so if you go to a pool hall today, if you go to a bar today, and you go up to a pool table, what do? You walk up, you put your quarters on the pool table, and you say, I got, there will be a line of them. You're like, I got next. I got the winner after this point. Well, back in the day, like we would have Street Fighter competition. You would
same
have the
thing.
screen, right? And people would stack their quarters up on the
Right along the
where
edge of
the
the
screen met the edge of the
that
the
meant
plastic.
that was yeah.
So I got next.
game.
Like I got whoever wins, I got next, and we would stand in line and wait to put our quarter into
isn't that
fight.
awesome?
Yeah, I loved it, dude.
Isn't that awesome?
Well, I'm gonna throw my husband under the bus. When he was 21, Mortal Kombat had just come out.
Oh God, yeah, I remember Mortal Kombat.
The first one.
The first
one. Yeah. Oh, and Sega, was it like Sega Genesis that came out on?
I don't know. It was
And
also
Super Nintendo as well.
Same year, Wolfenstein 3D.
Another great game.
Well, I got one other little piece of thing for you though that just kind of this is going to bring back memory lane. Beavis and Butthead Virtual Stupidity.
I didn't know there was a Beavis and Butthead game.
I played that on PC, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I was playing that around that time because I freaking loved Beavis and Butthead. Like Beavis and Butthead was all the rage, and I was like in on that stuff. It was pretty fantastic. Well, on that note,
that was the game where.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Couldn't you spit off the roof onto people's heads on that game?
Yeah, you had to.
I remember that, dude.
Yeah.
I love that game.
No, not only could you had to.
Yeah.
On that note, Tess, take us into how everybody can reach us, please.
Me. Okay. You can visit our website at stopstandinginfire.com. You can email us at stopstandinginfire@gmail.com. You can reach out to us as a show at SIF Podcast on Twitter. I know it's true. At Boom Tap Live, Militus at Old Militus. Or
Tiger Punch!
Or me. I'm gonna tiger punch you in your vagina.
In your vagina.
Or me, Tess, at Debuff This. You can catch us live on Twitch Wednesdays, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific at twitch.tv/Standing in Fire Podcast. You can call or text us at 702-625-1337.
That spells leads. Hell yeah.
You know, I was thinking about it. We need one other form of communication. So we're going to have to get one of these butt plugs.
An Instagram. Oh,
I was just about to ask you for a direct
show plugs so we all wear the butt plugs.
Yeah, and what we'll do is we'll give everybody out the password to it or however it works. I don't know. And whenever they hear something they like, they can give us a little nudge.
That's the sub.
If you give me that, Tess will never be able to sit down through the whole show. Like I'll just be.
That's the sub. It's not the GIF anymore.
Okay, well,
instead when you
chat's
sub, we
not
go.
like it.
Oh my god.
Chat doesn't think that's a great idea. I have lots of ideas like this, guys. I'm sorry, I'm full of ideas.
That's a great idea.
Sorry, chat.
It really
I just
is.
think
I want to know
it's
how
interactive.
Battle Axe Theater can be contacted. That segue. See how we do that?
Well,
Go ahead,
we
Mark.
don't have 30 different ways for you to get in touch with us. That's for sure.
Oh,
So you guys
okay.
can find us over on YouTube. We're Battle Axe Theater, and I'm going to spell this out because it always gets messed up. It's Battle-AX because for some reason we didn't want to go the American route, but then we went the other way and went theater, which is ER. It is the American route. So we're Battle Axe Theater on YouTube.
no.
What?
That's incorrect.
Oh, I'm wrong?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Theater
You
ER.
had to say that to a theater major.
Oh.
Yeah,
teacher.
theater
Okay.
ER is a place. It's like the place like you go to the theater ER.
Ah, okay.
God damn it! Now we got to rebrand.
Theater,
Yeah, that's it. Quit.
theater RE is like the
See you
art
guys.
of theater RE.
Oh, hold on. I got it.
Tests are never gonna
Battle
come on our
Axe
show
butt
again.
plugs instead. Like that. Some serious branding, Def.
I don't want to mix
Why not just
X's
butt plug
and
theater?
butts.
Butt plug theater. I like it.
I'm gonna get buttplugpodcast.com real quick. I'm gonna grab that, and that way everybody can go on
And-
there and
And
get
we
it.
wonder why we're not invited to be streamers for Pantheon.
Now here's the
It
thing.
doesn't
Somebody
surprise a single
somebody
person.
said something in chat, and I was wondering, do you think it shocks you? Do you think that's what it does?
No, it just vibrates, Puddin'. It just
Oh.
goes
I mean,
like
that
that.
would shock me.
That's all. I mean, I was just wondering,
How,
like,
how do you
yeah.
know that, Tess?
What's happening?
Because I am a human being with access to the internet.
Well, I thought maybe there was
Okay.
like some shocking stuff going on. I that's just what chat's going off, and they've got lots of great ideas, and I like that. Yeah, the ringer.
But
I like that
I'm
idea.
so
Like
sorry.
a ringer. Have your butt ring. That'd be fantastic. I think noise is the way to go.
I am so sorry.
It's
to have
letting
gotten
that
us
special
off.
somebody know that they're thinking of you. That's basically all that's really about.
Battle Axe
and
Theater.
Who could not appreciate that?
How else do you? Yeah.
All right, so you guys
Sorry,
can find us
Battle Axe
over.
Theater.
Thanks, man. Butt Plug Theater. You can find us over on YouTube in the near future.
That's it. I'm getting a drink. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, seriously though, guys, you can find us Battle Axe Theater over on YouTube, and we do have an official URL. It's /Battle Axe Theater from YouTube. You can also find us over on Twitter, not Twitch yet. You can find us over on Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook. And if you want to join in the conversation with more RPGs, be sure to check out one of our videos, and you will find our link to our Discord linked into the description.
Fantastic.
And we will have all of those in the show notes that go up with this episode.
That's pretty.
So
That's
sick.
pretty awesome. All right. Well, we're on to phone calls, texts, and tweets. Militus, you said you had a text. Give it.
I do.
Like
I do.
roll
I
out
have
the
a
text.
text
Let's get into
A really
this.
great text. Okay, you ready for this? Hold
Yes,
on.
I'm
Hold
ready.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, Militus is not ready. Okay, I'm ready now. This text is from Seagram, as in he told me, or he or she told me,
Yeah.
like as in the liquor Seagram.
Okay. All right.
All right, here we go. So, hello, all. I enjoy your podcast. It gets me through work. In my gaming prime, I was on Madden, NCAA football, and Call of Duty. A buddy of mine introduced me to EverQuest back in the day, but circumstances stopped me from really digging in like I wanted to. Anyways, I got older. NCAA football, my favorite game, was discontinued. Madden, Call of Duty has gotten whack, and I haven't touched them in years. For some strange reason, I always kept that little time I had in Norath in the back of my mind. Even though I didn't play for a long time, the social aspects and the strategy needed to play the game I really enjoyed, which is why I believe Pantheon could be the next joint for me. Since you all got me on Pantheon being Pantheon patient tip, because of you good folks, I subbed to WoW Classic. My question is, coming from a small MMORPG background, is it worth me to get into WoW Classic as a rookie, or is it too far over my head now? And what should I expect from WoW from a rookie's perspective? Thanks in advance, Seagram, pronounced like the alcohol. P.S. I joined the Pagel server, and I hope I can run with you all.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
learn a few things.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
fantastic. I'm looking forward to running with you. You got to come and join us. That's amazing. That is awesome.
I did send Seagram a Discord invite, so
Yeah,
you can join us in the
fantastic.
Dirty Casuals Guild. But I don't know. What do you guys think? You've all played WoW Classic, I'm assuming. What would you say to Seagram about being, and especially probably Def and Punk could speak to this better than the three of us because we didn't play EverQuest. But what would you say to them about being a WoW rookie, and is the game, something for them? What do you guys think?
Actually, I didn't start WoW till Burning Crusade, so this would be more Punk's area, I would think. Not to throw it off to you, but that's what I'm gonna do.
I would say, and I'm going to let Punk have his say, but I would just say this: there's not, in my mind, Def, BC and Classic are very, very similar.
Except for flying. That's it.
They're more similar than any other expansion in WoW's history, in my mind. So I think you probably got a pretty good taste of vanilla.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
Punk,
and I would agree with that. I would agree with that too, because we didn't start to see that shift until the pre-patch for Wrath of the Lich King and Burning Crusade. So that's when it started to shift. I think right now, if you're wanting to get into World of Warcraft, the classic route is the way to go, especially if you had the EverQuest experience and you were fond of that, because you're kind of getting that crossover blend. You're going to get some of that group mechanics. You're also going to get access to a game that if you all week and you've got an hour a night to play, you can play for an hour a night without having to get involved in groups and stuff. So I think it gives you that single player aspect, but it also gives you that group content, especially with like the massive raid groups and the 10-man dungeons and stuff at the later point of the game. So it's a good time to get into MMOs if you've never really dove in.
Definitely. I know I'm super pumped. I know a lot of people, I can feel, and this doesn't have to be a WoW thing. I felt this throughout I guess I've been playing MMOs. I wish I've been playing them a lot longer. I don't consider Diablo an MMO, more of an action RPG, but probably I guess I started it in fall of 06, which is a bit late, into Vanilla's birth. But man, there's just something about, as a gamer, MMO gamer, the launch of a new MMO. There's just something like that just tingles my bones.
It's the butt plug. The butt plug starts
Oh my
God.
The launch of a new MMO is like getting a butt plug. It is. It is. You just got this tingling right up your butt.
Yeah, and there's lots of vibrating going on at the same time.
Keeping you right on the edge.
Yeah. On that note, Militus, like when we do launch, because we are going to be on the Peggle server, and fans of the show and stuff like that are invited. We've got a guild going, and it's actually going so big that we were kind of like, I don't know if we want it this big. We've been kind of trying to keep tabs on it and keep it just with people that want to be there. But one of the things we'll do, you guys did this when you were doing the WildStar podcast with all your those peeps. And a lot of those peeps are going to be joining us in this this next launch,
including Bear.
Including Bear, yeah. One of the best
Bear,
times,
which I actually got to play with for the first time ever.
Yeah.
This man who I've heard of, was like a legend to me.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I suck at this game.
Well, all of these guys are going to be kind of joining, and you guys did a broadcast of that launch day.
Yeah, we did.
And it didn't go good. Rough. It didn't go good. It was a rough launch. But here's the thing I remember about it. I had tons of fun, even though none of us got in to the game that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're
just hanging out in the voice server.
Absolutely.
Talking.
And we're gonna probably do the same thing. So if you guys are gonna join us for that, in the Texter Seagram there, he should do the same thing, or she. They should come and join up with us. It is so fun. It is electric. It's like in the air. There's just electricity going on. So fun. So fun. All right,
I have
stop the
breaking
podcast.
news. I have breaking news.
Yeah.
Seagram wants everyone to know.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
He's a dude. A.
Okay. A. He's a dude. Okay. Well, I didn't know.
I didn't
know. I don't.
More importantly.
Yeah.
B. More importantly, no butt plugs here. He's.
No. Okay. All right, Seagram, we got your back, because you know what? I'm not going to do that either. So I'm just trying to figure out the fascination. Apparently, there's enough of them going around that people hack them. So that's why I'm saying that. I didn't know. I don't even walk down the street now and look at people the same way. I'm like, is that person got one? Is that person got one? Like, I just like, that one's walking funny. I don't know what's going on.
But hold on, one more thing about this. I gotta ask my friend Def and Punk about this. It's like, we're rolling Alliance on Pagel.
Yeah, right.
Of course, our guild's the Dirty Casuals,
and it's an awesome guild, best guild you can ever be in. Period.
Best guild ever. I'm just hoping I can get a commitment here live on.
Yeah.
That Def and Punk will at least create an alt tune. Maybe it's not their main, but an alt tune with us over on the Dirty Casuals. So what do you say? Come over to the blue and gold, my friend Def.
You should just do it, because it's way more fun to play with us.
Listen to the angst in his voice.
I know, right?
Because he's a wordy. He's like, oh.
So I can understand. I can understand being a horde.
Gross. I can
too. I played horde all. When did we switch over? WOD.
Hey, no, Def. Yeah, I'm with Tess. I feel you. Because we had friends that pulled us to the horde side, and I was not happy militant.
Let's be honest. Hold on. In the horde's defense, the storyline of WOD for horde was great. It was after Kata, which had a great horde storyline.
After Mop.
Well, Kata into Mop had a really good horde storyline, and then and WOD was really kind of horde centric. It really did.
It was, yeah.
But by the end, this is why I switched over in Legion. Yeah. I switched back over in Legion was because by the end of WOD, I did not want to see another damn orc.
No, nor did I.
I was done with the aesthetic. And then with the after Legion with BFA, now I'm like, you know what, you dirty. Play the Sylvanas clip. Do you have the Sylvanas clip?
He does. The Optiplex will stress this.
Please
straight the
play the
F out if you do
Sylvanas
it.
I'll work on
it'll,
that.
It'll
I'll
crash the
work on that.
Optiplex.
So what do you guys think? Are you guys going to join us? What?
Yeah, will you join us
spot?
with an alt, maybe?
Man, there's so much pressure coming to Punk and I from so many different people wanting us to play WoW Classic. And Punk and I have been trying to sit down and decide, but we really haven't. I don't think we've had
Is a goddamn demon.
There you go. There you go.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Sorry,
And
I'm
you were
sorry.
saying, Death?
Yes, and you were saying.
I was saying, Punk and I haven't. I don't think we've legit sat down and talked about it yet. Like, as far as
you
the
got just a few days, brother.
I
Yeah,
know,
You don't have long.
but
Yeah.
with the plans for the channel and whatnot, and what games we're gonna play, and a new
right.
season and all
Right,
that.
right.
So,
I got you.
Punk,
So let me
do you want to
let me just
discuss
tell
this on
you.
air?
Yeah.
We can just tell them yes, and then just
Yeah.
do
And
whatever
then
we
just-
want.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true too. We never know. I will hack your butt plug if you do that. I will hack it.
Please
Don't
do,
make
man.
me. Okay.
That'd make my day more pleasant, I think.
All right. Well, just remember.
Well, hey, at least
Is a goddamn demon.
at least do this. Just roll an alt over on Pagel. And if you get
If you
bored,
never
Roaming.
play it,
just
if
come
you
over
never
and
play it, oh well.
and
So,
chat
Def,
with us and hang out.
When you play with us, it's like this all the time. Everybody thinks that we put on some sort of a podcast show. We don't put on any kind of show.
No, this
we
is
just
us,
do
100%.
this is what we do every time. And so we just get on and do this while we're playing. So come on
Yeah.
over there,
Yeah.
just do some of this while we play. It's a lot of fun. Tess will already be cap level and she'll just give you things because
she'll just carry us all. That's
Yeah,
pretty much.
so you
what's
don't even
gonna
need to
happen.
do
She'll just
anything.
carry
She'll
us.
be like-
Not playing a warrior. It's the
Yeah.
learning curve on it
What?
is gonna.
Oh, whatever.
Whoa,
you hit
whoa.
you hit one. You just
What?
just hit one a lot.
What?
No.
Yeah.
No, this has got to stop. Stop the shit. What?
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 What do you mean you're not playing a warrior?
I said not with me playing a warrior.
Yeah.
Because
But
the
you're
learning
rolling
curve-
a warrior.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because I need my tank, man. Come on.
I got you, baby. My
Okay.
baby.
I thought you were claiming on the podcast you're not playing warrior.
No.
I'm like,
I was
Oh.
saying what I was saying was the learning curve until I hit 40.
Think about all the content you
I am
guys are
gonna
going
be
to
rage
get.
starved.
Death Punk. This is what I love about
Yeah.
Tess, and she doesn't get enough credit for this.
No, none.
Like she is a straight up natural born leader tank
For
in a
sure.
dungeon.
Absolutely.
Like she
The best.
always knows where to go.
Oh yeah.
Like even if she doesn't know the map,
Uh-huh.
she's got this like
She's got it figured out.
spider sense or something
Sixth
like where to
sense.
go.
Yep.
And she's always like, I'm rushing in and taking aggro. And I love it as a dude because I think
She knows what's going
sometimes
on.
in
She's in
MMOs
charge.
well, I think
Yeah.
I think sometimes in MMOs, female gamers get an unfair rap as
Sure.
not being all the things I just talked about. And Tess is like all those things. And so I just love it. I just love it when she takes like command in a dungeon and we're all following her.
Yeah, it's great.
So you guys have to
Yeah.
roll alts if nothing else just to see her tanking brilliance because she's a
Yeah.
bad
Are you
appreciate it.
healing? Are you healing, Melitus?
yes. So maybe
All
you
right,
want to
so
reconsider.
If you're gonna take my healing roll, look. Here's the stipulation. You guys can do whatever you want, and I will play. I'll even main over there if I can be your token hunter.
Done.
Oh,
Done.
please.
Nobody
Yes.
is maining a hunter. Well, is it
No,
not maining a
there's
hunter?
reasons.
There's
Well,
reasons for that because they were pretty useless.
That
back
was
in
my
the day.
original. No,
Yeah.
that was my
We
original.
don't even care.
My-
That's the
Fine,
thing. Is
Dude,
we're not.
it's not it.
You just play
come
what's
over and
fun.
play.
Yeah, you just play what's fun.
Yeah.
We don't care about being.
We'll make
just-
it work.
We just have fun.
Don't
Yeah, we
worry
make
about
it
it.
work. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so Def,
be great.
apparently we're gonna play classic.
Okay,
There we go.
Yes.
Yes.
It's settled. We're doing it.
Yes. Excellent.
Damn
I
it,
mean, this-
Blizzard! You're
guys.
getting
Dude,
my damn
This
money.
is like the third time
Peggle
today
server.
that it's been
Peggle
brought up.
server. Peggle server. All right. Is it Peggle or Peg?
Maybe
Paggle
we'll be
or
able to play by Wednesday because the queues will be.
Lee or
Is it really the Peggle server, like the add-on from back in the day?
Piggle?
Yeah,
Paggle?
Pagel.
Yeah.
P-A-G-L-E.
Like
yeah.
Oh,
Nat
okay,
Pagel.
like
Nat,
Nat Pagel.
Nat
Okay.
Pagel. Yeah.
All right. All right, there we go.
I thought it was like the Peggle add-on. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Death Rail
It's gonna
said
be-
Blizzard is a goddamn demon.
Yeah, well, they are. They are, but they got me, and so that's
yeah, they got me
all
too.
That's all that really matters.
Oh,
So
guys.
Wait,
oh, go ahead.
do we have to go Alliance, man?
Yes, that's a done
Yes.
deal.
We
okay.
bleed blue and gold on this podcast.
Def, one of my characters. So you got to register 3 characters, right? I was able to secure the name Abilititties.
Ooh.
Okay. And
Okay.
So far, it's gonna be. It's gonna be banned. You know it is. Come on.
So now,
Jesus Christ.
so I have Abilititties on, and it's Alliance Tune, and I'm keeping it. So there you go. You can't.
Until
I
Blizzard
can't-
takes it away from
we
you.
can't give up on that.
I'm shocked that I got Tess.
Yeah.
Tessie
hmm
and Tessie Poo.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got all the
My
good
names.
ones. You got all the great ones. Yeah,
I got Militus and
Uh-huh.
Terra.
yeah.
I tried to get Logdong, but it
You
would
can't
not
do it.
allow.
I tried to get logged on too. No,
It
logged
would.
on.
It would ban.
What did you
You know,
guys get? What
doesn't like
if
that.
you don't want to share your at names, that's fine. But
Yeah, because you guys
did
haven't signed
get
up
some
yet.
Good
so
names.
they-
We have.
you haven't?
No, we
they
haven't.
haven't
So
signed up
if I do Warlock, I guess I'll get Butt Plug Bone as a Warlock. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hacked butt plug. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't,
Okay,
I'm not sure.
all right. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Is that, so I would totally play Warlock. I think that's
cursed butt
amazing.
plug. That's
Yeah, cursed butt plug. That's a great thing
Impending
to
butt
be.
plug.
Yeah.
Butt plug dots.
There you go.
no, more butt plug.
That is kind of a
Oh, man.
damage
More
over
butt
time,
plug.
isn't it?
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
That's the ultimate damage over time.
Especially
Yeah.
hack butt plug. That's like a dot, man.
Or you could go like
Enough
old
vibration,
school.
you're gonna rupture something.
Yeah, something's not going
Sorry,
right.
Tess.
Affliction to the
No.
butthole.
I
You
still don't
could
understand
go
how
like
this works.
old school. You could go super old school Warcraft, like not World of Warcraft, but the Warcraft games, and you could be like dwarf needs butt plug.
Yeah.
Well, I'm putting that. Yeah, I'm gonna just put that in trade chat. All right. So we did have a phone call. Do you want me to play the phone call?
Yeah, play it for me.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Let's hear it.
I accidentally gave out. So I'm so used to the jingle, the 702-625-1337, which is, by the way, where you can leave a message for us
That
on the
spells
show.
leet.
Yeah. So I was at the doctor. And I've been having a little bit of a heart situation here going on, and I'm being serious. But so I went to the doctor, and I accidentally had the doctor call. So the doctor actually left the voicemail. So I don't know what it's going to say. You guys are hearing it with me, and for the first time, and I don't. So I'm sharing this with the world. We're
Oh,
gonna
honey.
see. We're gonna
Are you
see.
violating
what-
HIPAA?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I'm
this is a
violating HIPAA.
mega
I think you're
HIPAA
violating
violation.
HIPAA law, right?
So
Go
here
ahead,
we go.
dude.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Hey, Boom. This is Dr. Pornsack Cockburn, and I'm calling with your results from your heart test. And I hope you're sitting down right now, because if you were standing up, well, you might be dead already. See your cholesterol here is well over 2,000. And we've kind of got this gauge we're using is kind of like a Chernobyl thing, It doesn't go beyond 2,000, and you kind of hit that pretty fast. So it might be a lot higher than you think. So high, in fact, I think the cholesterol could be used to put Land O'Lakes butter out of business, if you know what I mean. So just concerned. You wouldn't have to have gone to Tennessee lately, because here in Colorado we don't often see those high numbers. But the backwater picks of Tennessee, man, this heart rate and this cholesterol is pretty common. So just wondering about that. And I hope currently you're not near any technology, microphones, wireless internet, because the electromagnetism is known to kill people with this kind of arrhythmia. So just hope you're all right. And but for God's sake, don't play Pantheon. That has the highest rate of heart attack for people waiting for any updates. So I hope you're not playing that game. Anyway, just hoping you're doing all right, and give me a call back. Again, that's Dr. Pornsack Cockburn. Look to hear from you soon. Bye.
There we go. We've got
I'm
our.
in tears, dude.
For God's
Yeah,
sake,
so-
don't play Pantheon.
Apparently apparently it's gonna cause me to have a heart attack. So there we go.
Well, it will be 50 years from now, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. So there you have it. I thought
if
that was
Boom
pretty good.
makes it to launch.
Yeah, if I make it to launch. Yeah. Pantheon. This is a message to Pantheon. Boom doesn't have a long time. You've got to get this game out.
We need the hearts to shit package on the pledge.
I would
page.
like to play before they put me in a box. All right.
Please, can we contact like Make-A-Wish?
We're gonna contact Make-A-Wish for me. We're gonna be like, well, he's not a kid, he's 45, but listen, he really wants to play this video game, and they won't even share news about it. And we've got to somehow find a way to get him to play this game before his heart gives out.
Oh man!
Oh my god!
Somehow, like in your hospital room, Brad McQuaid walks in with a laptop.
Here's Project Fairthale. It's for you.
Please don't die. We want you to see a sneak peek.
It's 4 trees and 2 enemies.
On Great Box.
Oh my god!
And that's the last thing I see before I bite it.
Oh my God.
Excuse
On
me,
that
when is
note,
Alpha gonna take place?
This game
when is it? I said,
Remember
when
that
is
EverQuest
Alpha?
next?
Hey, you better not make the game too hard. I'm telling you. If I play the game,
There you go. So I had to skip us into Pantheon Patient, and everybody's still laughing. And the funniest part is Fragile in there. What game were you playing when you were 71 years old? And he said Pantheon.
I just launched.
Here's the thing: you just have sometimes in life. You just gotta laugh about it, right? Because you get so stressed about, when does it come out?
That's what's
and
going
I think
on.
This is my moment to like release.
This is everybody kind of releasing from the 6 months of stress that we've had trying to
8
to kind of
get it right.
8 months. 8 months. Sorry, we've had 8 months of
working on 9
of where we're kind of like, okay, this is the week. This is the week. Today's the day. This is gonna happen. And then it all just kind of came out at once, which is good though. That was fun. And chat, you guys were cracking me up. Chat was making me. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun watching the stream anyway.
Dan said not only did Brad walk in with a laptop, but butt plug for you. Well, Boom.
Yeah, exactly right.
So you could die happy.
So I could die happy. I'd just be like, there you go.
And Des has a new hashtag for us. It's hashtag Pantheon plugged in.
Oh my God. We're never going to be able to stream Pantheon.
There's a new.
No.
There's
Listen,
a
Brad
$20,000
McQuaid will never talk to me ever. He'll never like a single tweet I put out.
Now here's the thing, dude. That was never gonna happen anyway, so I'm not that worried about it.
Oh my gosh!
As I told everybody, it's my hobby, so right, I have to have fun with it, and this is my way of having fun with it right now. They could prove me wrong tomorrow.
Primal's,
oh, I know. I was just about to
package?
say there's a pledge package for $20,000.
$20,000 is called Heart Boom's Pledge. Unlimited VIP access, alpha access, beta access, a young preserved heart, an early name registration.
Hey, it's really affordable.
Oh my God.
20 grand that's
there
a
you go.
steal.
That's a
For
steal.
a young preserved heart.
All right, yeah.
Oh my Lord.
I like that too. We're all gonna get emails.
This
is another
chat
chat.
away for a minute.
This is another. The chat is on fire. There's another chat that came in that says we're all gonna get emails from Visionary Realms giving us our money back, not to talk about them.
Please stop your podcast. We're gonna triple your donation, Millicus.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you back 3 times what you gave us to shut up.
And everybody's like,
Well, and then we had
Oh.
both Des and Braun add to Prima's pled package
Oh,
that not
yeah.
only do you get all those things we just mentioned, but it also comes with a Pantheon custom glass bottle.
all right, you guys are having
Oh, my
you guys are
Lord.
having so much fun. All right, Tess, how are you Pantheon patient this week?
Oh my God. Well, I don't want to go into details or anything like that. I've had a
poor
really
Def
rough
and
2
poor
weeks.
Punk and Def
I
came on
know,
the show to be
right?
serious and real, and this is where we took it.
Don't worry. we're
Those two poor
This
guys,
is
they're
awesome,
sitting there.
by the way.
These guys have like this channel. They're trying to do all these things and they're trying to do all this good
actual
work.
content.
Yeah, they're trying
not
to do all this stuff,
hit
and then
mass jokes.
and then here comes Boom, and Boom just is like, here we go. We're just gonna go down this road. All right.
Honestly, that's why we're so excited to do the show. To be honest.
Mhm.
We've talked
Hey,
about
listen.
Pantheon
We
so
love you
little,
guys.
it's been great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Here's the deal. Hold on, I'm
Let's
gonna bring
talk
us back
about
on
the
track.
newsletter, bro.
No,
Yeah. We're gonna get there. But I want to just make a statement. Here's the thing. To the whole community, I gotta say this. All Pantheon community. Listen, guys. Sometimes you just gotta chill the F out and not take yourself so seriously and laugh and smile and make butt plug jokes.
Yep.
Dude, life's too short to get
Way
all
too
worked
short.
up and super serious about
As
a video
I'm finding
game.
out.
We're all waiting. Hell, we all want it. And I know everyone in the community wants it. But this is just our way of like letting off some steam and having some fun and
And
hopefully
trying to
making some
distract
of you laugh.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make some of you laugh because
Yeah.
there's a ton of serious content creators and I appreciate them. I appreciate the serious content creators.
Well,
But I also think we
they're
need a
way
balance of
better
like
than us. Yeah.
I just need to laugh sometimes, just to de-stress from the weight and have some fun, and that's what we're doing. So, thanks for riding with us, Death and Punk, and sorry
Oh.
for all the
it's all
shenanigans. It's a
Dude.
lot of fun.
Welcome to the jungle. All right. So,
So
Tess,
on
what did you
Pantheon
do?
Patient,
Patient.
Yeah, what did you do?
patient. You guys, I have not to go into like and get heavy and do anything like that. I've just had a really, really rough last 2 weeks. Like bad. And the type of bad where you don't even like want to get out of bed bad. Like
Like
I
real
just
life bad. Real life bad.
real life bad. Like I just want to lay in bed and watch Netflix and completely binge the new season of, whatever. And but I finally on last Saturday actually, drug myself out of bed, got on Steam, and I bought Pathfinder Kingmaker
Ooh.
on Steam.
Nice.
I don't know
Well,
what that
it's
is.
I'm a huge D&D fan.
I don't know what this is.
Pathfinder it's almost exactly like D&D. Like the spells have the same names, the classes have the same names, you do the same type of things. It's like the open source version, I guess, of like D&D. And they had
I
a
see.
crowdfunded video game called Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Gotcha.
And I needed some crowdfunded love, so I bought it, and I am just loving it. It's
Wow.
hard.
Good.
It's hard. It's time. Well, it's not hard. Like the actual play style isn't hard. What's hard is that there's so much of the world,
That's what she
and
said.
just like in the real world, it's if you ignore this thing that's going on over here to go like side quest over here, the real world isn't waiting for you to come over and deal with this quest.
Hmm.
And if you don't get to it in time, by the time you get over there, you're screwed. Like the monsters, like imagine in WoW, if you got a quest to go kill boars or something like that. And so you're or to clear out a cave, let's say. You have to go clear out a cave of these trolls. And you're like, all right, well, I'm going to do my crafting and I'm going to do my all the stuff. And I have this other quest over here. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to run a dungeon. I'm going to do all these things. And then by the time you get over to that cave, in real time, that cave, it has expanded and now the trolls are taking over the local town.
Oh wow,
that's awesome.
So
that sounds really fun.
It's really cool. So you really have to time management. It's a single player game. They don't have any sort of group mechanics in it at all. You create a party and everything like that. But I really appreciate that time management because it's very realism in that you can ignore this all you want, but in the real world, it's not stopping just because you're not there. You know, it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So anyway, that's what I've been playing to be Pantheon patient.
You know, you reminded me of something, Tess, that I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about MMOs and kind of like, you know, because the conversation is always like on lots of shows, it's like, are MMOs dying? Are they going away? Are there, you know, all this? And, you know, we forget that the roots of this are all kind of like the Dungeons and Dragons. Like that's kind of the roots of RPG, where all of this is, right? And and they made an interesting statement that I had not heard in a long time. This was on Massively OP's podcast, which is pretty good. And they said there are many private servers where people are doing RPG stuff on their own, and they're thriving. Like those games are actually thriving and booming and going. And they were talking like it's not so much that the video games are taking away from it. It's just, and that the MMOs are dying. It's just that sometimes they can't match the imagination of a person.
Of a DM, a dungeon master.
Of the dungeon master who's really doing it. Yeah. And so they were kind of talking about that. And that actually was a really kind of interesting point. I think at the very start, you know, that one of the things that fascinated me about WoW was it sort of captured my imagination. I talk about that all the time. And it felt like this very, very well-articulated dungeon master ran that world. It felt like that. And I think really if they want to continue to keep these things going, they've got to think like that. They got to think like a dungeon master and build like a dungeon master. And you'll get all of those people kind of to come back to that type of genre. And I think that's what makes me so excited about, you know, and what really got me hyped to do a show for Pantheon was I felt like that was kind of the direction it was going. Now, I don't know it, but that's how I felt it was happening. So that's really cool.
We definitely have the technology for it now.
Yeah, right. That's the other thing, right? We've moved on from the days of just a static NPC. We've got like more power there. So that was pretty exciting. Militus, how about you? What? Well, I don't even have to ask you. I know what you've been doing.
You know what I've been doing. Yeah, I played the classic stress test this past weekend.
It was fun.
And here's what happened. So it's really good. You know, I always give
not
people
really good. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
I was,
you know,
not
as much as I like to hate on
Blizzard,
you can never knock them for like the
hate
polish.
on Blizzard.
But the polish of their games, it's like undeniable. Whether it's Overwatch or whatever, it's undeniable.
Yeah.
I jumped in the stress test and played a lot. I played a priest and I played a druid. I played a little bit of a warrior, just kind of playing around. And here's what I tested. So obviously I had some friends that jumped in the game with me. I played with Tess and I had, and she may talk about this. Well, she didn't. She's already talked. We played. I shit you not. Okay. I watched her play for about 4 hours. And then I joined her and we played another, I don't know what test, 4, 5 hours. What did you play? 9, 10 hours straight?
14. Yeah.
It was insane. We played all the way to Deadmines.
It's a Saturday. Yeah. On Saturdays, I wake up at like 8 in the morning. I get on my computer and it's on like Donkey Kong MFers. Like that. This is what's happening.
So I hadn't seen that in an MMO. I'm just going to say that. I had not seen friends of mine playing that long in years. No. So, okay, there was that. And then here's the part I thought was really good news for Pantheon. So I'm running around the world earlier without Tess, and it was early in the morning. I'm running around the world, and I'm in Westfall, and I run over, and I'm killing, you know, those big mechanical dudes around the, you know, hay bales that are running around. And all of a sudden, this mage looks over at me and she's like, "Hey, would you like to group?" And I'm like, "I would like to group." So we group up and we start talking as we're playing, and then there's downtime. And in Pantheon, there's going to be downtime. So the mage would have to drink. As a priest, I would have to drink. Before you know it, a warrior comes by. We invite him. Then all of a sudden, a paladin runs by. We invite him. And I look up, and all of a sudden, we invited a warlock. We have 5 people. And there's downtime between fights. And so we talk about, like, where do you live? What do you do? What's your family like? And before the end of the day, now I have commitments from like 3 of them. 3 of them was like, "Hey, Militus, when you start your guild, would you please reach out to me? Because you're the kind of person, and if the people in your guild are like you, I think I would really like to get to know all these people a lot better." In a stress test, this happened. Not in a live game, in a stress test.
It's impressive.
I meet people, get to know them. Like, I'm even talking with the mage about where her kids are going to go to college, what she does. Like, when's the
You were
last time
talking
that's
about with
happened
that
to you
with the
in
paladin.
an
Everybody knows
MMO?
paladin kids don't go to college.
But honestly, like, I could ask all of you, when's the last time you had that depth of a conversation with someone in an MMO? It's probably been, for me, I could tell you, it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since I've been in a game that caused me to have that level of social interaction.
Yeah.
And so I was like blown away. I thought it would happen, but to see it happen was a whole nother thing. Like, I thought this was going to happen, and then I can't imagine what's going to happen on Monday. Because I think on
Monday's
you're going to have, after Monday, you're going to have some more serious.
Well, okay, I'm worried about Monday. I'm sorry.
I'm worried about server load.
No, it's not that. This is what I'm worried about. Is that this is what I'm worried about in what you're talking about, because I am worried that on Monday everybody's going to buddy up, and that organic conversation that you're talking about won't happen, because
but Tess, you won't always be able to buddy up.
It will.
Your
I'm
buddies
just saying
will go to
on Monday.
work. Your buddies will go to work.
Yeah.
They'll have family. There'll be, come on. Our lives are too
There's always somebody
chaotic.
like me that gets kicked from a group.
There's good people, there's bad people. This is something that Punk and I talk about on our channel a lot.
Which is Battle Axe Theater. Go visit Battle Axe Theater.
Theater with DR.
It's seriously sexy, and it makes my butt plug vibrate. So,
just FYI, that's why I went AFK. My butt plug kept going off, so I think someone was hacking. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, but you got good people and you got bad people. You play EverQuest 1, and then you mentioned the fact that you played WoW, and they're like, "Ooh, get off the server," scum. And then you have people that are like
hate.
Yeah. Then you have people like Militus was talking about that, like, oh my God, communication, friendship, let's do this thing together. That's a hard thing to find,
I'm sorry, Def, you just said something, and I think I misheard you. Would you repeat who was sending you that hate? Where did you feel that hate?
What do you mean?
Like, you were like, some people are like,
just people in the general chat and retail EverQuest. If you mention WoW and retail EQ, your ass is, banished.
And I felt that, to be honest with you, Def, and I'm just being kind of humble. I'm just being honest here, and this is not me lashing out or anything. I'm just trying to be honest with the Pantheon community. As a guy who didn't play EverQuest, and I didn't, and part of me, trust me, wishes I had. I'll be honest.
Right.
I didn't. I was playing Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 during kind of EverQuest's heyday.
Yeah.
But as a guy who didn't play, I wish I played. I have felt like from the Pantheon community what you're talking about. Like, I felt a little bit of like, yeah. Like, well, that's a WoW guy. And I don't see, the thing is, I don't consider myself a WoW guy. I consider myself just an MMO guy, and give me a good MMO. And I don't care if it's Norath or Azeroth, if it's good and it's social and it's hard, as in like difficult where I need a group, then I'm good. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
have felt a little bit of that from the Pantheon community. Like, Militus is kind of that WoW guy. He's not
Yeah,
really
we don't want
the
that WoW in there.
EverQuest guy.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
gotta
felt
be
that,
like
man. I'll be honest
EverQuest.
with
Yeah.
I know what you're
can I-
talking about. I felt it.
Yeah.
And
So is
I-
Punk. Punk gets tired of me bringing up EQ. You know.
No, and here's the thing is that I think, oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it. I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong. You know, your bias is hardcore. I don't feel, and I'd like to hear what Def says about this. I don't feel like the returning bias is as strong. Like if you're an EQ guy that joins like a WoW community, I don't, at least in my experience, I haven't seen a lot of people be like, "Oh, EQ guy, get
It's
out
the
of here."
opposite. It's the opposite, in fact. Like,
Yeah.
they're usually like, "Oh, you played EQ? You're one of those people? You're old school? That's
Exactly.
awesome."
Yeah.
Well, but I don't understand, and I just don't understand because when EQ came out, I was like a child, and I missed the EQ thing because my mother was the one that was playing all the games, and she didn't play EQ. She played Ultima Online.
Thank you. Because that's why I want to jump in there for a second. For all those EQ players that like give me that vibe, I just want to throw this back at you. Could not old UO players also give you the same vibe? Because I'm going to say they could. Like they could say, "Oh, EverQuest is not UO. It's not top down. It's not." You see what I'm saying? Like you could all that argument. And I think who put this?
I
here?
just think it's stupid.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
It's
I
like-
have to give them credit.
They were all like original MMOs. Each thing had its own vibe. They were all hard and all challenging in their own aspects.
Well,
And I don't understand why we're pissy at each other because of
Primal
what
Pat in chat, I think, captured it, Tess. They said it's part of the human condition. We have to put labels and draw conclusions on people. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's a hard
No,
well, it's much
100%.
easier for me to think about you. So Militus is a WoW guy. Dev is an EQ guy.
Well, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
It's super easy to label someone like that.
It's also an easy way to you're passionate about your game in an MMO. It becomes kind of part of you, and it's deeper than just a game that you play. And I think you feel threatened by it when a new game comes along, you know, and so you're kind of like,
sure.
You
That's
know,
natural.
It's going to steal my friends.
It's going to steal my friends.
I would argue,
right, Pong.
Yeah, I would argue that it's even more so among our generation of player, because our generation of player, all of these MMORPGs came out when we were at the age where we had fixed income. Like you could only afford to play one MMO. That $15 sub was a big deal. And so your loyalty was hardcore. You couldn't be like, yeah, I'm going to play with my friends over here on EQ, and I'm going to play with my friends over here on WoW, and I'm going to play with my friends over here on Ultima Online, and I'm going to play with my friends over here on Dark Age of Camelot, and I'm going to play. You couldn't do that. You had one, and you stuck to it because that's all we could afford when we were in 2004.
Well, and there was also such a time investment. Yeah. So like you were dedicated. If you got to max level, that you didn't do that in a week or two like you would do in WoW. That took you like 6 months.
Well, let's be honest, in modern WoW.
I got to level 51 in 2 weeks back in vanilla. So it's achievable.
And so is everybody else this time.
You're a god.
People are gonna cap.
I thought I
cap in classic fast this next time. Yeah. It's gonna come fast, and it's gonna be wild. That's why they're releasing it in stages. That's why they're doing like the 6-stage release or whatever they've got planned, because they know everybody's gonna be like through that stuff faster than everybody thought. Yeah.
And may I say one thing? I know we got to get to Punk and what he's been doing in Pantheon Patient, but Pantheon community. Pantheon has got to be badass, okay?
Yeah, we are MFers, man.
For you know, a newer game coming out with old school mechanics, you know, the grind, you know, the community, all that stuff. It's got to be badass because it's got to be the only game that I play for the time investment. You know, we got day jobs, we got real life, and all that stuff. It's got to be a game that sucks everybody in, and that's the only game that you play. You play Pantheon, that's it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just wanted to get that off my chest.
As a guy who loves classic WoW, Def, I have to say that's exactly what I want. Like, I really want VR to do that.
Knock it out of the park.
Like, I want to be sucked in and pulled away from
is
all these
rooting
other
against
games, and it just to be my game.
Yeah.
As I think Nathan puts it the best. I really like when he says this on his channel. He's like, I want a world that I live in. You know, that I
absolutely.
I have an identity in, I live in, because that's the world you come back to. If you feel like it's not that, what do? You log in, you log out, you move to a different game. But if you feel like you live in that world, you are committed to logging in and playing consistently. Not half-ass or splitting your time between 10 other games. You're dedicated to that game. I want to say this, Boom, and I know you're going to go on. That my experience with Classic WoW is great news for Pantheon, because it means that their design philosophies are right. Because I would not have experienced that if they weren't right. Like what their core game philosophies of social interaction, difficult content, group play, all these things that are on their manifesto. It manifested for me over a stress test weekend into making several friends. And that's what MMOs are supposed to do. At the end of the day, that's exactly what they're supposed to do. And because Classic WoW worked for me, I know I'm 100% confident it will work in Pantheon if those systems are put into place the way I think they're going to be put in.
Absolutely.
So I'll shut up and say that.
No, I not to tack on like I always do, but I was not as excited for Classic as you were, Militus. I mean, I was like, okay, it's coming, but in general, I think like games kind of move on, and they move on for a purpose, and everything got better, and there was times, and there's things I like about the modern WoW, and I actually have been playing a lot of that lately, and I've enjoyed it. Like, I'm having a lot of fun in retail WoW right now. But I will say this: I did the stress test with you, and I started going through everything. It all came back. The feelings came back, and I was like, I get it. And I thought I was going to be kind of like, this is old. It feels old. You know how you play an old game, it feels clunky. Like if you were to go back and play that game that you played when you were 21 right now, you wouldn't have the same experience.
It would feel really clunky.
It would feel different than it does today. I played WoW and I had the same experience. And I was running around and everything, and I was just like, something about this has got a magic. There's a mojo to it. And I was like, I was so happy. And then I got excited. When I got excited, I was like jumping the gun. I was like, everybody get in our guild now. And Militus is like, slow down. I can't handle it. There's too many people. But it was really pretty exciting.
Well, and I think that's super cool, though, Boomy, because you're technically not
a
actually. You're technically a Wrath baby.
Well, technically.
End of BC Wrath, yeah.
So you enjoying because Wrath is, I think, what Punk was saying. Yeah, Punk.
That's
you
where
were
I spent
agreeing
the most
with
time.
us.
That's where I spent the most
time.
That
Punk is Punk is where all the changes happened. Wrath is where all the changes
your fault,
are
Punk.
going.
It's all
son
your
of a
fault,
bitch.
Punk.
That's normally
I'll take credit.
So
whatever. Punk is my pudding face. I love him. Yeah. Don't you be mean to Punk. I will cut you.
Thanks.
Well, to move on from WoW, so what I did in my Pantheon patient time real quick, everybody, is I played a game called Division 2. Now, before everybody rolls their eyes and goes, Division 2, because I got a lot of hate on the internet for liking Division 2, even though it was in forums that were dedicated to Division 2, where you would think everybody liked Division 2.
Were you on Reddit?
Yeah, it's that's kind of the way it's just life. Anyway, and I'm like, I gotta say, so here's what I'm hoping, like some MMO picks up on. There are little pockets of great ideas in some of these games, and Division 2 is one of those games that had this really cool pocket. So they did something that I've never done before in a game that I've ever played. I've never experienced this. So the entire map I unlocked over about 3 months' time of playing, and I opened up all these zones, and I got to do some dungeons, we'll call them, and there's raid content, there's all this stuff, and then I get to max cap, right? Well, when I got to cap and I triggered all of the events, right, a new event started up, and it changed the entire map. So it was the same map, but a new faction came in and wiped all the old factions off, and I was back to square one. I had to go back and redo this, but every NPC all of a sudden was very different. All of the things that I was fighting the first time around didn't exist in that same fashion. All of a sudden there was robots walking around. There was different kinds of things. And I was actually like taken back by it at first. I was like, what? It was like I rolled back into level 0 of the game. And it was so clever. And I was like, man, you could reuse zones like this. You could do cool stuff like this where different factions take over zones at different times. And I think Guild Wars 2 even farted around with this a little bit. But, you know, you got this beautiful zone, all this artwork, everything's built. And really, if you threw different NPCs in that at a different stage, all of a sudden the game becomes brand new again. And you're playing in that world, in that place again. You still feel like you're a part of it, but you got new challenges and new things to explore. So I just wanted to say that was awesome. And then I also had something happen to me this week that I never, ever thought I would say. I have been making good friends on Xbox.
What?
Blew my mind.
Oh, wow. What?
I got into a guild in Division 2, and I get in there at night, and these guys are on there, and we talk, we get into some things, we get some groups going, we run around together, and I mean, this group has about 400 people in it now, and they're nice people, and we're just kind of like, and everybody's low key, no pressure, we're just running around, we're doing our thing, and they're like, oh yeah, don't worry, man, if you can't get to this guy over here, it's cool, we'll get, it's awesome. It's awesome. So I'm just saying, well done. They've been able to do it. Division 2 was able to bring community together and do this. I don't know how they did it, but it's fantastic, and I think it deserves some attention. But what I really stress is I want MMO developers to not get locked into a box of thinking that the next MMO, the next big MMO, has to be like all of the other MMOs before it. It's going to take some groundbreaking ideas. It's going to take some real invention, and it's going to take some stuff that they're going to have to, quite frankly, steal from some other great game designers to bring into a new MMO to really get everybody to stick long term. And I'm hoping that their eyes are open. I hope they're not just like, blind to the ways of old, and I hope they do invent it a little bit, because there's been some cool stuff. Ubisoft is doing some great stuff. It's pretty fun. I've got to say I'm enjoying it.
Well, I want to hear about Def and Punk's.
Yeah, this is it.
Pantheon
Def,
patient
this is your
moment.
time. Def, Pantheon patient. How did you stay patient?
Well, we've been hard at work on our season content that we're working on. But other than that, I've been playing Destiny 2 a little bit.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I've been just doing some PvP stuff every now and then, I've been here having an itch for Overwatch. So I've been playing Overwatch, Destiny, something I can just jump in quick before start editing
You're doing
videos
some work or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff like that. That's about it.
So are you excited about the new Destiny 2 expansion? Are you kind of excited about that whole process and then kind of breaking away from Blizzard? What do you think?
Destiny is kicker.
Well, here's the
I just
thing.
don't like the poop pew pew pew. It scares me and I throw things.
Here's the thing. The only person I have to play Destiny 2 with is Punk. So we're kind of at this. All right, man.
I'll play Destiny 2 with you all day.
We don't have a what is it? What's the expansion we don't have, Punk?
Forsaken.
We don't have Forsaken. So we're all caught up. We've done all the content. We're at this wall, and until we get people to play with, I don't think we're gonna, spend any money. But I'm
in. I mean,
we just started playing recently, so with that shift over to Steam, it's like, do we want to invest, or do we want to wait till the next expansion comes out and get the Forsaken included with that? So it's kind of one of those things.
I know this is an odd
spend money or not,
isn't it? This is an odd time.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of in the same boat. I have it on PC, and I've played through everything in PC, but I never did raids. I did everything up to the raids, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I've been having a lot of fun playing Xbox, and I'm like, do I want to buy it on Xbox, or do I just want to wait out for that, or and I totally feel you. It's like a weird time for that game. What about so you're playing some Overwatch, new characters? I got to ask you, how are those?
The new tank class Sigma, he's OP, and
they're always OP when they're first launched.
Yeah, and I actually made a rant about Paladins about this very subject, to how every time there's a new
they start them high and
they're like OP as fuck, man. It pisses me off.
They want to get everybody playing it.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Roll, brother, roll.
There you go.
It pisses me off, dude. It's not fair.
You guys have to come all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Whether it be permanent podcast.
Exactly. There you go. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun playing Overwatch. We kind of had a group there for a while. Remember when last time we got bored playing WoW and we didn't have anything to do? We played Overwatch.
Yeah, and but that was a long time ago. Like, I played a lot of Overwatch, and this was before. Who was the newest one that I don't remember. But I was so good at Sebastian. Like, I could.
Bastion. You mean Bastion?
Who? Yeah, Bastion.
That's a Bastion name for him.
Sebastian.
Sebastian.
Sebastian's a little
like
pony.
90s character to the game.
Little Sebastian's a horse. That, yeah.
I thought some like Saved by the Bell character.
No, Bastion, not Sebastian. Sorry.
Saved by the Bell.
This is how much I played.
Yeah, that's okay. No, you played Sebastian.
Don't you make fun of Never Ending
Mr. Belding.
Yeah.
I hate
Ultimate. They pull out Mr. Belding.
All right, Punk, get us back on the rails here. How did you spend your Pantheon patient time? I know that you're gonna have something to razzle dazzle us here.
All right, so I've been playing. There's this game that's been out in kind of an early access that just finally hit Steam called Legends of Aria. Now, there's a game out called Shroud of the Avatar, which is from some of the Ultima Online creators, but Legends of Aria is from the other Ultima Online creators.
Yes,
so some of the original OG people. So when you load into this game, it has like a real like Ultima Online feel. But I really wasn't feeling the main servers. They're developed on the Unity engine, which is MMOs in Unity right now. It's like oil and water. So that's a topic for another day. So I went and I was like, okay, I'll go get on one of these custom servers, because that's what's cool about this game is you can make your own servers with your own rules and your own quest, and it's the old Ultima world.
That's so cool.
So I never played Ultima, and I'm thinking, okay, I die, I got to do a corpse run, something like that. So I spend a whole day begging for money, because you literally start off naked with nothing. So I spent a whole day begging for money, leveling up skills, getting some weapons and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to adventure. Yeah. So the rest of the afternoon yesterday, I spent like 6 hours running to an entire different like country, if you will. And when I get there, I'm clicking around thinking I can loot all these boxes, and I click on a bookshelf. And when I click that bookshelf, the barkeep or whatever is like, hey, get out of there. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I go to leave town, and as I'm walking out of town, a guard spawns out of nowhere, slaughters me, and then when I get back to my corpse, in Ultima Online, the classic Ultima Online, apparently anyone can loot your corpse.
Yeah. If you die,
I died on the road.
So like people took all your shit
2 feet out of town, and I had just got to town and vendored like 150 pelts that I had looted along the walk there.
Oh God!
They took all my money, took every piece of gear that I had, and the only thing they did was they put some of my gear in the newbie chest. And about 2 hours prior, it unnewbied me, so I could not pull that gear out of the newbie chest. So I was buck ass naked.
You got butt plugged hard, bro.
Butt plugged.
You got hacked.
So were you bare fist fighting? Were you just like,
that was it, man. I was bare fist fight. I didn't have nothing. I was like, well, I guess I just started over again.
There's kind of a little bit of that's kind of fun. This is
kind of fun.
The thing was, I wasn't even mad. I was like, well, that.
I proposed this as a dungeon mechanic, and I got laughed off the show last week, and then you just came on and you made it sound so amazing that I actually want to do it.
Oh no, I think it's terrible, and I don't think it should be in any modern MMO. I think that's a horrible mechanic.
Oh, it
like
sounds
if I
so
spent
fun.
like 6 months and that happened,
Well, that
like
would
I
be
was
rough.
doing raid content and then it was like a non-instance raid and somebody came in and there's like, oh look, there's Punk's corpse. Let me take the rare dagger and that unobtainable helmet and I'd be livid. I'd just
So
be like,
what
this
if you
game,
got
I'm done.
what if you got to keep all the stuff? Let's say there's a timer and you get to keep all of the things that had met that timer threshold, but anything that was before the timer threshold,
he's
is
getting
up
back
for
into his
grabs.
idea test.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
So do you understand
So you
his idea?
recently looted maybe 5 different items, but your stuff that has been with you for a while, that's safe. You're not going to lose that.
Well,
but those
here's
5
the real
items are up
question.
for grab until you can reach a certain threshold. What do you think of that?
Here's the real question. The boss that I just fought a few bosses prior dropped a legendary bow for me, and it's been 30 minutes and I died. Is this new boss going to pick up the legendary bow that I got for me and kill me with it?
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
that's a good question.
Because that's what
so.
you were getting that last stream.
Yeah,
dude.
and that's
Fight
what I
him!
wanted.
Fight him, Punk! Get him!
That's what I
Because
wanted.
like
I want the boss.
I kind of
to
like that
be
idea
awesome.
of. I like the idea of like, okay, I no longer have access to a loot or it's somehow locked or
right,
something I've got to
something
do.
happened. Okay.
But I don't like the idea of a boss picking up my own damn loot and killing
I
me
love
with it.
Nor do I.
I love it because
Nor do I.
that's what would happen. Like
That's
if you
brutal.
think about it, if I ever was running some sort of a Dungeons and Dragons thing, that's what's happening in my game. If I'm the dungeon master, I'm gonna be like, you dropped your
this
loot.
This is why we don't let Boom.
Design
I'm
MMOs.
gonna say you just dropped your loot. Now the boss has it. Now what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
boss is gonna
you
steal my
should've
staff
thought-
of fireball and wipe my group with it.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe you got to have a plan, and you got to be like mad at the guy who dropped his loot for the boss because you're gonna be like, oh great, now we have to fight him. Now we got a 2-headed ogre that has a pitchfork that we didn't want him having.
Okay.
and you got to
So not only did you
crap
screw
out.
up and stand in fire and die, but now your
Yeah.
entire raid is mad at you because the boss stole your loot and is
Exactly.
wiping them with it. I mean, come on, dude.
Stop.
Yeah, but
Okay,
the good
hold
news,
on.
the good news is
Oh, they would
Around-
hate you so much.
no. The good news is
Behind-
that
beheaded
just
way more
behind the
than
rock, if you just look behind the rock, so you got to use your brain. You look behind the rock, the butt plug of surrender is back there. You grab that, you stick it in him, and it nullifies the whatever.
You just stick it in them. It's that
You just
easy,
stick
huh?
it in.
I'm sorry.
You tell that
can't-
tank, you say,
can't
"Turn
have
the
Do you have
boss."
to do it like a rogue? Do you have
The
to go
tank-
behind him and like literally?
Well, that
get
would
his
work. You could
butthole?
rogue him. You could rogue him in the butt, which is a real surprise. Or what you could do is you could.
Is
you
that
could
what is
turn him.
actually happening when Rogue Sap? I just have a question.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
Are they actually?
that would
Do
be
you
a
hear
cool
a-
mechanic. I would
That
play a
would
rogue.
stun me. I'm not gonna lie. I'd
Yeah,
be-
exactly. You'd be like, "Oh my god, what happened to me?" See, but you just
Only if the boss's cheeks clench. That would be the only way I would do it. Like if I sap around, I got to see the cheeks like quiver a little bit when I shove the butt plug.
Could you
I
imagine
just
that
wanna
though?
say-
The tank does it, pulls him. The tank turns the boss so his back is facing it, and then somebody comes up and just rams that thing in there, and now the boss is easier to fight.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
We, this is the argument that we made last week there, Boom. Is that there is a difference between realism and fantasy. Some
think that's
elements
pretty
of
fantastic.
realism.
That's pretty fantasy, I would think.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Sorry-
that
sorry,
is
Tess.
hardcore realism.
How many of you
I
are
think,
gonna want to
like,
stick?
you
That's
die
like sticking
and
a
somebody
butt plug
picks
up a
up
bear.
crap.
You're not gonna do that in real life.
Oh my
No,
lord.
because a
that
boss
is-
would run away. Like
I mean,
if
that
someone
does-
came at me with a butt plug, I'm
Yeah.
the opposite direction.
That whole concept boom sounds like a lot of fun, but the thing is like it's very rage
It
inducing.
wouldn't actually work.
It is
And
rage
as
inducing.
Undone says, and Saga of Lucemia, when we mention these like realisms, I gotta make a game, man. That's what he says. I gotta program a game, and that's what it comes down to. Like, if you're
Mhm.
gonna make a game that's so realistic, well, I can go down the street and fight my neighbor with a rake if I want to.
Preach on, brother Punk.
Okay,
Yes,
but here's the
sir.
thing: if you
That's a
lose
good
to that
point.
neighbor now has your rake, and next time you go over there, you better be packing something better than a rake.
But
That's my
Exactly,
point.
and I don't need a
bro.
game to do that for.
That's not fantasy. That's not why we play games. We play games to escape the real life where our
'Cause you're gonna
freaking
have-
crazy ass neighbor might stab us with a rake.
Well, you're not sticking butt plugs in anybody, so that's fantasy, right?
Oh god.
Okay.
I like
real
how
life fantasy.
Prima, how Primal in chat was like, well, that's not your fantasy.
Yeah. Quit telling me my fun is wrong, Tess. All right.
I'm sorry. Your fun is not wrong.
Thank you.
Your fun is correct. I apologize.
Thank you. Fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if your cholesterol is 2,000, you might be from Tennessee. If you reuse your beer bottle to drink water, you might be from Tennessee.
Y'all, if you put ice in your wine.
Militis has done that, I can tell. He gave me a look like, well, of course you do that. I don't even have another one. It's time for the Militis
If you're drinking
Reddit segment.
Oktoberfest in August, you might be from Tennessee.
Oh, girl.
Militis is already into the pumpkin
Jeff.
spice, ladies and gentlemen.
Def, have you heard my Tennessee versus Texas joke?
I have. I've seen every Standing in Fire podcast since you guys started Pantheon. So.
That's awesome.
So you're telling me basically she doesn't
Def,
like
I don't,
me, right?
I don't even think I've done that, Def. So that's impressive.
I was telling Punk, I'm excited, man. I'm a fan. I watch you guys every
Oh my
week. If I
gosh.
can't make the
You're
Twitch
too
show,
nice. You're too nice.
I'm listening to it at work, man. It's
Well.
it's awesome.
And that's
right
why
back at you.
y'all are my favorites.
Happy to be
Yeah, right back at you. We love everything that you do as well, and all those kinds of things. All right, Militis, take us away on your
Okay.
Reddit segment. Is this
before
a really great
before
Reddit
I
segment?
jump in?
Okay.
We did have
Reddit.
a live text, but I didn't
Okay,
want
all right,
to start a
okay,
conversation.
fantastic.
Okay.
And it was from our good friend Fragile. And Fragile.
Yeah.
He says, I'm super excited about Pantheon, but I would like to see Visionary Realms have community managers be a bit more hashtag Pantheon plugged in. Just look at today's newsletter
man.
blunder. Will there be more lack of
Okay,
communication?
I have a theory about
look
that.
forward to,
Fragile.
even on the little things. Thoughts, Fragile.
Fragile, I have a theory. So we do this show on Wednesday. They were releasing their notes on Wednesdays. I kind of predict that they're changing that because they don't want us to talk about the notes.
They knew we
So-
were going to be on here with you to talk about
Yeah.
that, so they wanted
This
to
was a
perpetuate this a little
Yeah.
bit.
magical-
What they're
It's
like
like
is they're
freaking
like,
conspiracy.
yeah, they're like, we're gonna.
Damn it.
I told
Brad.
Militis today. I said those notes are coming out tomorrow morning at like 6 a.m. because they're gonna be like, okay, we're in the clear. So I told
no,
Militis, I said,
Battle
should we
Axe
do a
is gonna be
special
on.
one? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, there you go. So maybe we should do like a
Are
special
we like
Thursday
the
edition.
two villain
We are.
groups that are
Maybe.
coming
Oh, yeah.
together to form an
Hey,
axis
It's because
of
we're
evil?
real.
We're real.
Did
Yeah,
you say
we just speak our
axis
mind.
of evil?
Axis.
Axis.
Oh,
No, not
okay.
sure. Yeah,
Axes.
axis of evil.
We-
Axes.
We
of evil.
live in a
Yeah.
live in a world where, for whatever reason, you can't disagree with somebody. It becomes a
Mhm.
Yeah.
it becomes
Yeah.
a feelings hurt sort of thing. And I
Yep.
don't live in that world. I won't do it. I refuse to.
Yep.
So I'm like,
Amen.
I have to. Every friend that I have, or every person that has become my friend, I'm willing to understand that we're going to differ on things. Then that's just the way it's going to be. There's going to be things I believe and they don't believe, and we're just going to have. But we're going to have discussions about them, and I want to hear what they have to say. And it doesn't change our relationship. It doesn't make us have to be one way or the other. And I think that's the way I am with Pantheon too. It doesn't mean I don't want the
Yeah.
game to come out, and it doesn't mean I don't want the game to be the best game that there is, because I would love nothing more than to have something better than any other MMO that has ever come out. That would be
Yep.
amazing, because this is my hobby.
Yeah.
This is what I do. This is what I love. So I would never ever root against it. But at the same point,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I can't air my frustrations or say I want something. That I have that right. I can do whatever I want, and that's where I'm at. And so I think, to Fragile's point, I think they're going Radio Dark for two reasons. I think they're going Radio Dark because classic, and like Militis said, the heat's off of them a little bit, and they don't have to say anything. And I think they need some time to get some stuff done. and I think that the hype train came too fast too soon, and they're slowing her down so that it's not out of control and they can kind of manage.
Well, the train ought to be pretty much at a dead stop.
It's at a dead stop now, honestly, because I skipped segment 1. Segment 1 was all about Pantheon, and
the
we
newsletter.
blew right through that one, didn't we? We just went right around
play
that
the news sound just so that I can hear it.
Let's talk about the newsletter, guys.
Good money on that freaking bumper, and I love it.
That was sexier than
no,
anything
wrong
I've ever heard
one.
in my life.
That wasn't it.
That's it. That's the one we want on.
What is your eye level?
Was that it?
No, that wasn't it.
Okay, hold on. I'm sure I've got it in here somewhere. Hold on. How about this one, Tess? There you go.
Jeez.
Was that it?
If you could see her hand gestures, everyone listening, they're not kind.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's take us away.
We'll get into. I just say one more thing about Fragile's point. I do think that if VR is listening, which I'm sure you're not, this is standing fire. Who am I kidding?
Nobody listens
but
to this.
If you are listening, I would say this to you. You know, there's a lot of devoted people that have pledged their money, their time, and their love to you. And so if you normally release newsletters on Wednesday, I think it's reasonable that you tweet out to the whole community, not just to a select person, that you're not going to put out the newsletter that day. I think that takes a lot of effort, and I think that's being courteous to the people that support you.
Amen.
And I don't think that's really that much to ask.
Nope.
So that's kind of my take on it. And
All right.
if people get pissed off about that, then so be it. All right.
Just
So
be real.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Let's jump over to Reddit. So
you have the right
there was
to
a
be mad.
Reddit thread that kind of blew
And
up.
we have to get Battle Axe's take on this first.
Okay, let's do that. All right.
Okay.
I have no take, so go for it.
All right, so let me introduce the thread, and then we'll get their take. So here's the title of the thread: Is the old school model really sustainable? And quotes, I want it to be. This is by X. Tess, I need your help. X Tessuix. the bard.
X's are silent.
No, or is it a TS? Sexuous.
A sexist? What?
A sexist bard. Makes sense.
Sexuist? I don't know.
Oh. Ability whisk is Boom's character.
Ability whisk.
Yeah. XTETSUIX. All right, the bard. I'm all for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen as my favorite MMORPG are things like Final Fantasy and EQ. I hope that Pantheon Rise of the Fallen will provide at least a decade of enjoyment. My worry, though, is that my worry is the style of game play is not sustainable. After people reach max level, and I know that the caravan level link system will alleviate the lobies not having anyone to play with, but eventually everything will be sitting at in-game, quote unquote. Hence why retail EQ and Final Fantasy are the way they are now. This post, it really didn't ask a question, it kind of inferred a question. But this post sparked this huge debate about the pitfalls of like current MMOs and ways to kind of alleviate that in Pantheon. So things like server resets, maybe longer grinds to max level to kind of avoid this problem we're kind of postulated. So let's throw it to Punk and Def first. Well, I guess we'll start with Def. We'll start with Def. What do you think? How do you ensure that Pantheon doesn't make that mistake? What do you think, Def?
Well, I've been thinking about this because if I had time to game all the time, I could go to an emulator. I could go to play EQ Reborn. I could go play Project 99, and the mechanics, the long grind, the community there would kind of keep me engaged. And I think that's important to remember, like, but the thing is that I can't do that nowadays. It's 2019. I want those old school mechanics. I want the old school grind. But let's say Pantheon comes out in 2022, whatever, 2056, whenever it comes out, it's got to feel like it's that type of game. It's got to feel good. It's got to have those crunchy sound effects. It's got to have those good graphics. And I don't want to shit on Pantheon doing the Unity engine, but they got to know what they're doing, because we've seen games in the past that use the Unity engine and try to do MMORPGs, and it's not working out all the time. To me, it's just, if you're going to sit down and play a game and spend that amount of time on it, it's got to have that feel. It's got to be immersive. It's got to look good. It's got to have a good community. And I think those are the three important things that would keep people playing a game.
Those are great points.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I got.
No, that's a lot. What about you, Punk? What do you think?
So, I mean, if we're talking, I think one of the big things that was addressed in that post was like eventually people are going to reach this end game state, right? And there's no longer going to be this like new players, if you will, right? So we are on that. We're talking on that topic, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure. All right, so you've got these people that are going to hit end game, and I think the worry here is that, okay, ultimately, if I want my friend 5 years into Pantheon, I met him at work, he plays, World of Warcraft still, or whatever game he's playing, we want to introduce him, but there's nobody for him to play with. That's the biggest concern. So how do you fix that? And I think World of Warcraft in and of itself has done a very good job with that by introducing all kinds of different features, by dumping money into advertisement, always keeping it relevant in the public eye, so that whenever you hear Warcraft, if you've never played it before, you hear it enough times, you hear it that famed 7 times, so that way you're inclined to try it, you're inclined to do it with your friends. And by adding additional features on top of that advertisement, you're always going to have this new influx of players and these returning players and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, we've been a part of these MMOs for a long, long time. And when you get to, I think you're right, when you get to that end game, it's, well, first of all, the whole term end game, I think, needs to be redefined.
Yeah, I don't even like it. I don't like the term anymore.
How does that?
I don't think it's as relevant.
Yeah, how do you?
There shouldn't be one.
Yeah, how do you build something that isn't a thing? It's just the game, because that wasn't a term when Classic was out. I wasn't playing Classic, and everybody's like end game. Like they only kind of started to use that towards the end of it when they were raiding.
I didn't even know, but you know
I
something
didn't
funny?
know that.
When I played Vanilla WoW in 2006. I had zero idea what a raid was. No idea. I had no idea. I saw people in trade chat typing.
And they were talking about it.
No,
Yeah, right?
I don't know what the hell that means.
But you weren't like,
I'm
I have
still
to get
over
to
in the
that.
forest looking at the trees.
Yeah, right. You're still like
beautiful.
You're still like, man, can I get to this other zone and see what cool things going on there? Yeah.
Can I find an earth root? I need some earth root. That was my concern. It wasn't as emphasized back then.
No.
As it is today. And I think that's something that needs to change. And VR controls this narrative. They really do.
Yeah.
Given the way they design the game, they control the narrative, quote unquote, in game in Pantheon. They control the way we think about it, the way we conceptualize it, the way we build our daily play schedule around it. They control this. And so what I'm hoping they do is they pay attention to the pitfalls that current MMOs have made about, in my opinion, overemphasizing that end game and not emphasizing the journey to end game.
Okay, I have a question then.
If you're going to have an end game.
I have a question. So this is a chat because chat is blowing up about this
blowing
topic.
up. Yeah.
Hardcore. And my question is this. Chat, what do you think percentage-wise in an initial release? How much do you think should be new content? And how much do you think should be end game content?
Okay, hold on. You need to define those because how do you define new content?
I should say like leveling content, maybe.
There you go.
Okay.
And then end game content. And then in an expansion.
So okay.
How much of an expansion do you think should be, again, new or quote, and by end game content, what I mean is you're grinding for the best gear, you're raiding, you're grinding out crafting materials. Like that to me is end game content. I'm not running out in the world, running quests, meeting people. I am just trying to get the best kind of gear or finish up storylines or finish up that or the other. That to me is end game content. So in a fresh release, how much, chat, do you think should be leveling content, and how much do you think should be end game content?
Dan says 20% end game.
20% end game. Okay.
Bronson says the whole game should be nothing but constant end game by that definition. Deathsrouth says leveling 80%, 20% in game. It should never be about the vertical progression. And I'm glad Deathsrouth uses this term because these are the terms I wanted to introduce in this conversation. He said it should be about both horizontal and vertical progression. Okay. Primal Pat says initial launch 90-10, expansion 40-60. Okay. So
I like those. I like those.
Yeah,
numbers.
I like this. But I want to come back to these terms, vertical and horizontal, because this was my argument, is that to avoid the pitfalls, what VR needs to really seriously consider, and I know this is going to upset a lot of people, is just making the leveling process, in my opinion, long AF. I mean, long. Like Punk was saying earlier, see, I thought Vanilla WoW, for me, it was initially because I was new to the world. And Punk's like, hey, I did it in 2 weeks. Well, it took me like nearly 9 months.
Yeah, right.
It took me nearly 9 months. But I was naive.
It took me even way longer than that because WoW for me was my first MMO.
Mine too.
Yeah. And I was terrified of dying because of RPGs. So
and
I was
I
a
want
wuss.
I want that in Pantheon. Tess, I want it to be minimum.
Do too. Yeah.
And this is where people are probably going to disagree. Minimum 6 months.
Well, I think my point I was trying to make is Pantheon, from what we know now, is going to go that route. But if you're going to have a long grind and that's the leveling process, make the graphics great. Make it feel like it's a modern MMO, you know what I mean? But have those old school mechanics in the game, you know? You feel that grind, but you also feel like you're playing a game that's released in 2020, you know what I mean?
Right. You're entertained by the animations.
Right.
You're immersed in the world. So the grind doesn't feel as bad, right, Dev?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's a good point.
I have one other comment about the verbiage that sexist, the bar, I don't know how to say your name.
Yes.
Used.
The verbosity.
The verbiage that he used is not sustainable. Yeah. And I just want to throw out where the three of us got our podcasting chops at was talking about Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
And we started right as Heart of Thorns Guild Wars 2 launched. And that was an expansion that was not sustainable because as people would move through it, then you had no one to group with because everyone had finished that. Every once in a while, somebody would run an alt through, but you could not get through the content because in order to get through the content, you had to have a big group doing multiple different things. and so it was not sustainable. And Guild Wars 2 ArenaNet figured it out, and when they made their next expansion, they fixed it.
They weren't stubborn. I was worried they were going to be stubborn, and they didn't.
They fixed it. But that is my concern about a lot of this stuff is how much are you going to lose? How much of because that is a real question. How much of this world are you going to lose when people have run their mains through and now they're running alts through, and you've already played it, you know, kind of this is where this is going to go and this is where this is going to go. That's my question. Yeah. Like, if I'm not hardcore and in the original release and running everything through and kicking everybody's butt in the first 6 months, am I gonna really struggle finding people who want to rerun content? I think that's a real question.
That might be where the progeny system comes into play, right? I mean, we don't know a whole lot about it, but that might be a factor.
Yeah. I had forgotten about
that.
Point.
And two, I think another way to solve this, I know this is ruffle feathers as well. I would be completely okay, honestly. Even if they make the grind long, they'll say in 3 or 4 years after Pantheon releases, instead of releasing an expansion that like takes the vertical progression route and like adds gear. So imagine WoW Classic to BC, right? Immediately when I step foot in Outland, all the gear
is done.
I had purples from raids.
Mm-hmm.
And that
I stepped in Outland.
I mean, we all did. We all did. We were all
hardcore
raiders.
What
then.
the F, man? Like seriously,
it hurts you in your soul.
Bad.
I still in my bank have raid gear from vanilla because I refuse to get rid of it because for
the green that you got on Hellfire Peninsula. And I really don't want Pantheon to take that out if I had to pick. What I would rather see them do is do this. 3-4 years after, instead of releasing an expansion and new gear and all that and trivializing everything. Honestly, I think we've seen what's worked. A lot of us in this podcast and a lot of people in this chat, I know I watched you play EQ2 when they launched a progression server. Nathan Napalm had a guild of like 350 people.
Oh, Nathan. I love you, Nathan. Kisses.
That's it. That's the idea. 3 to 4 years when it starts getting stale, instead of adding a bunch of new gear, why not just have a fresh start server? Because what did we just say early in the podcast? That's what we all crave. Like the start of something new is what gets us. So if we've taken characters all the way through, we've amassed gold, we've amassed mounts, we've amassed, all these great weapons. We need a reset every so often. That's my opinion. I would rather have a reset that realizes everything before it. That's just me.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons, the Dungeons and Dragons game, they're doing a 90-day server.
I saw that, yeah.
And in this particular case, they're doing the hardcore mode, like you die kind of a situation. So it's like, see how far you can get in 90 days. But then they're doing a cool thing at the end of 90 days, and you transfer your character into a regular realm and come back to life again. So it's kind of fun. So you didn't waste your time in those 90 days, even if you.
Well, I want to hear. I want to hear.
Yeah, I want to hear
Punk.
Punk. Yeah, Punk said he disagrees. I want to hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't catch that. Go Punk.
So what I disagree with is like we see these TLPs, we see TLEs, we see World of Warcraft Classic. There's a lot of wasted energy in the space to cater to the nostalgia, if you will. Mm-hmm. Like, what about making a new IP? What about making?
I remember.
Exactly. I remember. But no, it's like I think there's too much catering to that. Like we want that, but like you said, Nathan's guild started with 300 some odd active people.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not there anymore.
Within 3 months, it was just like it was gone. They weren't even able to raid. And we saw the same thing with Saga of Lucimia's group. It was the same thing. After 3 months, everybody was gone. And so, like, what about those players that don't want to transfer? So you got a guild, and now you're putting, you're splitting this guild. You got half of them that want to go to a TLE or TLP, and then you have the other half that's like, I just spent 9 months amassing a bunch, or 4 years rather, amassing a bunch of progression because I played hardcore. I think what needs to be done is we need to take content that exists and polish it. We need to take content that exists and add some sort of dynamic component to it. We need to take the content that exists and make it change like a real living, breathing world.
Have you? I have a real question for you there, Punk.
Mhm.
Have you played Guild Wars?
It's a lot like that.
2?
Guild
I
Wars
played Guild
2.
Wars 1 and 2. Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Have you played ESO?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think about a merger of those two ideas?
I think worldwide scaling makes me feel like I'm worthless the entire time that I'm
Okay,
playing.
so you don't like that.
I agree.
Listen, I'll back off. I'll
Worldwide
give you that
scaling
one.
is rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guild Wars 2 did it the best, but it's still rough.
Well, but it was still worldwide scaling.
Yeah, it's so
What do you
worldwide.
think about ESO's vertical progression, where you never actually you have a whole bunch of new content, but you never have to level? You just get
You're talking about
points.
the CP hard cap?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome. What I would love to see is like, so in Final Fantasy 11, it took me 4 years to get max level on my main character.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
never
not this
played Final Fantasy 11, so I
Wow,
need you
4
to tell
years?
me.
4 years. And it's not to say
Yes.
that I didn't do end game
Wow.
content. That's the thing is like why do I need to be max level to do end game content? Like max level was 75 and I was participating in end game content at 69. So if I could get to that point, I could play, dick around, and then maybe I want to take a break and play a different
That is
job.
such an interesting idea. Your end game content doesn't start when you're max level. The end
Mhm.
game content starts when you're
Well, and
10
here's,
levels below.
it's not just the end game content either, Tess. It's the fact that you've got
I love
you've got 12 different jobs that you can play on a single character, and each
Mm-hmm.
of those jobs has what's like an epic story quest to get a set of gear that was like, if you're a Final Fantasy fanboy like me, it was like, if you take the Thief, for example, one of the most iconic sets of gear in Final Fantasy world is their green armor with their daggers. You could get that in Final Fantasy 11, so you wanted to get that. But let's just say it just was a badass looking set because it's a whole original IP. Well, you had something to keep you busy all the time. So even though you start playing and you get to level 50 Dark Knight, and you're like, you've grouped with summoners and red mages, and you're like, I want to try something else. So you try that out, but there's something to keep you engaged on every one of those jobs for as long as you want to play. But let's say hypothetically you get max level, and you're max on everything because you're just that hardcore, or you max 2 or 3 things that you really want to play. Instead of adding, like we're talking here, instead of adding vertically, why are we not adding horizontally? And maybe this is a way to alter your playstyle, very much like Guild Wars 2, even, where you could be like, okay, I want to do something that's different than the standard necromancer 2-hander with a back bar axe. Maybe I want to do something else. So
that just made me like tingle, like the butt plug.
Ooh,
The
hacking
fact
that
that
should I turn the app off?
Yeah, please. Because you just threw out the necromancer 2-hander with the back. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I think
You're
they
welcome.
did that well
Oh
with
my-
masteries, right? Because they did that in
Yeah.
Guild Wars 2 with masteries, and so they kept like the legendaries relevant. Remember
Yes,
that? Like
absolutely.
they were relevant even through they're still relevant right now.
Right today.
Like,
yeah.
Well, because the
legendary that
Ranger,
you
it was
built
a
in the
gear run. Yeah.
base game is still relevant today in
Yeah.
the 3rd expansion, I think.
Yeah.
Like Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire. I guess whatever it
there's
is,
a fourth
it's
coming,
still
yeah,
relevant
yeah.
today. But now, what kind of separates you, right, is those masteries. So earlier in the chat, someone mentioned, and I like this. They're like, you can do both. Okay, it was Dan. He said horizontal progression can easily be a part of vertical progression if it's slow enough. And I think Guild Wars did that. So they kept like the stats on gear pretty flat, if you remember. But then they added masteries, which would change the way you played the content.
Right.
But it wouldn't like completely. Can you imagine, like, if you ever known anyone who's crafted a legendary in Guild Wars, it is a pain.
I still have not
Ass.
crafted a legendary. I have played that game. I've never gotten
No,
a precursor
I
drop
didn't get a sniff at it.
ever.
And they didn't trivialize when they moved into the new content. They didn't pull a WoW like what I experienced in Hellfire Peninsula. That didn't happen to Guild Wars 2 players in
Yeah.
Heart of Thorns or Path of Fire. They did not happen to them.
Well,
And I
that's
hope Pantheon will do that too.
and they
will
need
not
to
make that mistake.
they need to do what WoW did and introduce legendary items that you actually have to put a ton of work in for. But then they need to not stop there and say, oh, you can only use that up to this cap because it's worthless.
Yeah.
That your green is better than your legendary halfway through the next expansion 5 levels later. That's stupid. You should have 100%. A way to grow it with you. And that's where, like, if we have, instead of like this aggressive curve, it's something that's more like, that's more like this, it's almost flat, but it just kind of increases incrementally over the course of, let's say, 2 years per expansion. Why do we even need an expansion every year? Give us 2 years, even 3 years per expansion, but throw at us like semi-annual patches that offer some sort of new content.
Living World. I still say to this day that Guild Wars really listened to what MMO players want. I don't think that they achieved it 100%, but I think that they did a really great job in the Living World idea. They
because the loot didn't that you got from it didn't replace what you had earned.
No,
it was just more. It was just another.
And I don't know EQ
flavor to the game.
Def, I have a question for you because I never played EQ. So I don't know, how was progression, vertical and horizontal progression in the, like we've been talking about, how is that similar?
Yeah, from base EQ, because EQ had many expansions.
Yeah, it had a billion. But how did it feel moving from expansion to expansion?
Was it vertical progression?
Starting out, it was very slow. And we have Fragile in chat, and he can back me up on this because starting out, I was a kid. I could play hardcore on the weekends, but not during the weekdays. But when Planes of Power started coming out, they started kind of doing that streamlined progression, And then after Planes of Power, it was just kind of like, once a new expansion comes out, your gear is shit.
Yeah, that's
what I mean.
Good feeling.
Yeah. Planes of Power, I would think, would be the last greatest expansion in EQ, in my opinion. So,
I'm reading chat, and I should have been. They're still talking about the butt plugs. Yeah, so they made this really as WoW.
Yeah.
Well, Final Fantasy 11 did it too, and that's the greatest mistake. Is we see. I think it's inevitable. You're going to lose people. That's just how this shit works. You're not going to keep 1 million subs forever. Somebody who's a Ford loyalist may one day go out and buy a Dodge. Yeah, exactly. So when you lose people, you don't just try to keep pumping money to keep this ship afloat. Come up with a new IP. You were a game company to begin with that enticed people to play your games in the first place. Put out something new. Come up with a new concept. Blizzard, why are we getting a WoW Classic? Why couldn't you put the time and resources into Project Titan and make it a reality? Give us a Pantheon Rise of the Fallen in the World of Warcraft or StarCraft universe that was better or as good as the concept that is Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and I will play that shit right now. I will give you my damn money, and I'm not going to go, Classic sounds okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you my money. And that's the whole issue is these old games went that route where they adopted WoW, World of Warcraft in their game. They made it single player game, and nobody wants that shit when they're playing an MMO.
No, they don't. Not at all. Yeah.
Well,
that's a good point.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move on. I've got a slight twist to the old segments as we kind of start to do stuff, and here it goes.
Is he getting soft? That's what's happening.
So normally we get soft with the community. Today I'm getting hard with the community, and I'm going to get hard. I don't normally get hard with anybody, but people have been taking some shots at old Boomy, passive aggressive shots at Boomy for weeks, right? Hashtag community matters. And
you can't use that ironically, man. Oh
yeah. And so I'm just gonna say, hey, Basgrim, I love you, dude. Play some EQ. Leave me alone, man. Otherwise, I'm gonna get hard. All right. There we go.
It's hard now for sure.
There it is.
All right.
Well,
there we go.
we have some.
There we go. There is that
Community.
Now, yeah. No. So now we're gonna switch. We're switching gears.
Yeah.
As for the rest of you in the community, it's time to get soft. We're getting so soft with you.
My bad.
I love that funky bass. That's baby making music, y'all. Come on.
It is.
Butt plug music, if you ask me.
I don't think that's how babies are made. At least that's what my teacher told me years ago.
Oh, that's a butt plug, man.
I have about 1,000 jokes I can't say right now. You guys, this is the funny part. You guys think I'm being rude. You guys think I'm being rude and stuff a lot, but I hold back so much. You guys have no idea. You have no idea what's going on in my mind. None.
Oh, honey, I can attest. I know Boom in real life. We work together. I can attest. Anybody who thinks that Boom is like, Boom is being tame when he's on the show.
All right.
Well, the
so
first
go ahead and be soft.
Butt plug award goes to
Get
Nathan
soft.
Napalm.
Hey,
a big
Nathan.
fat butt plug to him as he had a player.
Okay, and by the way, chat, I want you. So you hear this? This is the music that Tess picked. I want you to compare that to this real quick. Ready?
Wait for the hit though. It's in major.
So
you
what do
don't
you think?
funk in major.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think this is more soft, or the other one was more soft? I want to hear.
It's in major.
It has more of a disco vibe.
Yeah. It's
disco-y?
on the floor.
It's too
My
disco-y?
butt plug is
It's
going
not
crazy
fun.
right now.
You're not.
Fight you.
Isn't he? Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
so-
go ahead.
so-
See, listen to that
so
little
Nathan-
little strings. You got the strings? Okay. Sorry.
So Nathan Napalm had a player-driven Freedom and Pantheon video.
Yes.
You gotta go check it out. It's really good. Talks about freedom and game design, kind of giving us more power as players to kind of play the game the way we want to play it. Definitely give it a watch.
Nathan's always
Minus,
good
who's in
for a
chat
good
with
video.
us tonight, or he was.
Minus.
Minus. He had
with
to,
the
he had to
butt
go.
plug
It was
talk.
past his bedtime.
Okay, so he did a human race video, which is really good. Check it out.
Yeah.
Micah does. If we haven't run him off, he was with us before.
Yeah, we probably ran all the people off. We're gonna have to get new
probably
fans, everybody. Sorry. All right.
He had the wizard video, so he had an overview of the wizard class. Go check it out.
Micah, by the way, if you've never gone and watched a Micah Does video, that man, listen.
Micah does it
I
right.
think that Def and Micah
Micah
should
does it
have
right.
like a beard.
A beard off.
Oh, they
definitely have
I
a
didn't
beard
realize
off.
that.
Yeah.
The
Where they rub
two
each other's
sexiest-
beards.
The
I
two
just cut my beard.
sexiest
so I can't do
beard.
it.
I swear. I'm just saying, as a lady gamer, I appreciate the
Lady
gentleman's
gamer.
facial hair.
Okay, hold on, I'm gonna go back to
And-
this other one here real quick.
Well, maybe we can have Micah on Bat Live when we start back up.
Please
Yeah,
do.
you should.
Because listen,
Oh, that's a
Boomy
good
has
idea. Yeah.
not a lot like it's like this. And Punk, you're showing. You're getting me happy. You're making me smile.
You're showing out.
Getting your butt plug all riled up,
Yeah.
The best
You guys got some good beards.
is between I think Micah and Def with those
all I can
beards.
do is grow this. This is all I can grow, and I am gonna kind of go. I'm gonna do kind of a way down here.
But
with
you
it.
look like a celebrity, so come on. You look
Look, I just
Yeah,
got
I
a
do.
fat
I look
head.
like-
I
I do
can't
look
grow
like
it
Red
like
person.
that.
No, hey,
is all I
listen,
can
I'm not
do.
mad
It's
at
music.
you. I think any facial hair is better than no facial hair. So, and yours is nice. It's thick and good. It's not like
Thick and
Boom's like
I'm feeling kind of like.
Did you just hear her diss on my? Wait, hold on. Okay.
Well, I'm feeling completely inadequate at this moment.
I didn't think I was gonna have to bring this out twice, but now I've got a problem. Tess said that my hair sucks. My beard sucks.
All right, so
now
I gotta make an apology. Ben. I have to make an apology.
Okay, go ahead.
Last time we recorded, I gave a shout out in the Getting Soft for the community to Chris Kane.
Yes,
who
I
I love,
that.
man. Chris Kane is a real man. He's real as they come.
He's kind of a ladies' man, I think. I think
in
Chris
terms
Kane
of a content creator, he's
man.
real.
Yeah,
straight up.
How many ladies do you think Chris Kane has got right now? Like right now, he's sitting. Here's how I envision Chris Kane.
Twins in a truck, just like Def's 21st birthday.
Well, just like Def's 21st birthday. That's true. Def didn't realize that. He blacked out, but he did. Def did have twins in a truck on his 21st birthday. I was actually kind of envisioning that Chris Kane has a sunken living room. You know, so like you walk in, but you have to take a couple steps down, 60s style, and it's like down, and he's got his couch there. No TV in the room, no nothing. It's very much set up, and
Frank
there's
Sinatra sunken living room.
And there's just ladies around.
So we can hear those dulcety tones echo.
And
off
Chris
the
just
walls
walks
and
in. He opens Chris Kane opens the door, and he's just like, "Hello, ladies," and all the ladies are like, "Hey, Chris," and then and they have dinner made for him, but they're not wearing any pants.
Okay. All right, I'm with you.
Must be nice to be Chris.
I could see that. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
I retract my apology. Go F yourself, Chris.
He's got it set. Yeah. He just walks in. He's like, "Hello." He's like, "I gotta go record a video for Pantheon. I'll be right back, ladies. You guys rest up." And then, he goes and makes a video. He comes back, and he's back on it. Shag carpet for sure. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, definitely Doom
Okay.
Turkey. You got the shag carpet.
Okay.
But last week or 2 weeks ago, I said, "Hey, you guys go check out the video." Chris made this video of Mother Moon. Apparently, Militus was still like in the Night Elf starting zone, where you hear all about Mother Moon apparently all the time. It was Mother Mage. Mage.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry, Chris. I even went out on Twitter and made a public apology. It was Mother Mage, and it's amazing. So for our Battle Axe Theater people, I was wondering, because I'm looking and I couldn't find a lot of your content over this last week, if you guys might be wanting to tell us a preview, because I know you're hard working behind the scenes. So any previews you might be able to give to the audience?
You're doing all the work, Dev. You want to tell them a little bit about what you're doing?
I was gonna give this to you, man, but
I mean, I can if you want.
Well, we may be putting out a teaser, but I can't say when it comes out.
How teasy of a teaser.
Oh,
I mean, you can't tell I have a butt plug, but if you watch my face, you may be able to pick it up.
He's being teased right now. All right.
Yeah.
I will say a new season of something coming up. Expect, guides, rants, deep MMO discussion, like a real review in total of what is Project Gorgon. We played that for a solid month, hardcore. Made a lot of friends, met a lot of nice people, and it was requested in several of our videos in the comments to play Project Gorgon. So we said, screw it, we're not going to just play it. We're going to make an entire season, if you will, on
very
it.
Cool.
So
right on.
Expect that.
And
I'm going to watch
eventually.
it. I'm watching it.
I want to add one more thing. If you're pumped for Pantheon, it's worth checking out because there's a lot of thing that ties into Pantheon as well, as
cool.
far as
great.
Conceptually. Yeah.
That is cool. That is.
Well, I just want to say, I am so thankful that y'all deigned to come and join us on our butt plug and dick wall.
Hey, we never
It's
mentioned.
been a lot of fun.
Come on,
You
it was
just
far more
brought-
butt plug than
We
dick
didn't
walls.
mention
It was-
anything
adventure.
about penises this whole time.
No, it's all been butt plugs. the
It's
whole-
been tame, yes.
We went to
I'm
the
just saying,
other side of the river there today.
Out of the content creators
The dick
that that really ride you guys are highly entertaining and you give actual factual
unlike us,
unlike us,
you know,
like you actually
legitimate
guys,
commentary.
You guys have a purpose for being.
Listeners,
Does that make sense?
everybody needs to go check out
We
these guys.
appreciate you guys.
These guys are
You're gonna
like
make us blush.
Yeah, we have no purpose. We are a waste of internet space.
I think Minus used to call me like the queen. I'm not a queen. I am the matriarch, and I will cut people.
She will.
If you don't go and listen to these guys, they are the best. Seriously, go check them out.
Thank you so much.
And one more community shout out because he's in chat with us.
Yeah, he is. He is.
He is in chat.
Yeah, always. He's one of our first. He's our first listener.
Yeah, the highly anticipated.
Yeah.
World famous person in my household.
Yeah.
Fragile put out his Loading Please Wait episode 2, which is about the heels. Now here's what I gotta say to Fragile since he's with us. Oh, Milla's got some serious counter arguments.
He's
many things raised in your video. Yes. So we're out of time tonight, but Fragile, we got to talk in the next episode, my man. I got some counterpoints for you. Anyways, go ahead.
I just want to say I caught his tank episode and I really liked the format. So I haven't caught the Hills video, but Fragile, I really like the format. So keep it coming.
Yeah, keep at it, brother.
That's good stuff, man.
Fragile always brings it, and I'm so thankful to him. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to be done, and the one thing I can tell you is you can always support us by giving us a follow or maybe one of those Twitch Prime subs that you have. That's like super cool. We always appreciate that. Go ahead and throw that right on the channel. You can reach us again at SIF Podcast, Boom at BoomTap Live, Militus at Old Militus, and Tess at Debuff This. Any last shout-outs?
Well, no.
Go ahead.
I just want to send out one more time. Battle Axe Theater at
Battle Axe Theater on the old Twitter machine.
Right.
Yeah. So at Battle Axe Theater on Twitch, because you guys, they are the best follow you could have.
Best follow. Also, speaking of the best, there for just 3 installments of $29.99, we will be offering a branded Standing in Fire butt plug. You will be able to get it on our website. 3 easy installments.
Standing in Fire.
Listen,
it
burns, bro. It burns.
Doing merch,
It
and now I
burns
can't.
so good.
It's been packaged by Militus by hand. He's put them each caressingly into the box.
And quality matters tested.
You know if that's touched, if that has touched your butthole, that has also touched Militus's hand. All right,
Yep.
And that is Tennessee
and it might have touched
greatness.
Militus's butthole also.
Oh, too far. They're all not used, guys.
That's real dedication.
He's sabotaging this. They're unused.
No,
right.
Quality matters, people. Quality matters.
$90, guys, and we'll get to be looking for those. We're gonna have those out for you. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're out.